on a wrong note, but I was pretty good and really super fit at the time, and man, I just beat the shit out of myself the first 4 or 5 races and mentally checked out and just had to reset. And I've been racing a lot of middies just to get back in the groove and just picked away at this motorcycle to make it suit me. And I got to thank the whole team. They've done it. You know, they stuck in there when it looked like it was just sign you should just write me off, to be honest with you. So just so happy to be able to get up on top of the box for these guys, and it feels good, dude. So good.
Yeah, I got an awesome jump off the start, and I'm not really an inside kind of guy to start, and I went to the inside and it worked out. Was sticking into the woods behind BK, and I got into the lead in the pin section on the first lap, and then BK got me back and kind of just was riding behind him and gonna figure the track out, and made a pass on him and tried to sprint away and build a little bit of a gap, but I seen KR coming, and he was really good on this side of the track after the finish to the pin section, and I think I was better from the pit back to the finish, so it kind of evened out. But yeah, it was an awesome race, and jammed in between 2 old boys.
On the overall podium, tell us about it.
Yeah, it was a hard day. Just pushed all day, and was with Ben. Ben made a strong push and caught some guys, and last lap Ben made a mistake and I took an alternate line, and it was all brushed between us, and we actually came together and we both crashed. So that was a bummer. I didn't know it was him, and I don't think he expected either of us to hit, but yeah, just tried to send it into the finish, and I think they got me by just a couple of seconds. So it's what it is. I'm pumped to finally put it on the overall podium though and get a win. So it's sick. I'm pumped. My mechanic Joey's killed it all year on the bike. The whole Phoenix Racing Honda team has put an awesome bike together, and yeah, I'm pumped on it. So it's cool.
Good ride, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's the pen, special place. It was good. The track was not dusty, so we stayed together, and the quads kind of polished the track over here for us. So I think it kept everyone together a little bit. And, I don't know, just stayed with those guys, and it was hard to make passes, but I made a couple, and then the pen section was really fun actually. Yeah, just good day. I felt pretty quick. I caught up to those guys on the last lap, made a pass on Mike there in the pen section, and just couldn't get real close to Liam and Caleb there towards the end. But man, it's good. Another third. Cody got me overall, but third in class, I'll take it.
This is everybody, guys. We're going to ask you to get those medals on, hold those trophies up. Let's grab some photos, and I want you guys to get loud. Let's hear for your top 3 overall: Caleb Russell, Liam Draper, and Cody Barnes. New on this overall podium, and that is the Pop Some Bottles on the GNCC podium. Champagne showers here at the John Penton. And there it is, everybody. Caleb Russell back to popping bottles in the center of the winner's circle. We're going to ask you to grab those trophies, hold them up. We're going to grab some photos, and we want you guys to once again make some noise. Your top 3 in the XC1 class here at the Wiseco John Penton: Caleb Russell, Liam Draper, and Josh Strang.
Proud to bring you this live presentation on Racer TV of the 50th anniversary of the Progressive Grand National Cross Country Series, presented by Specialized, an AMA National Championship. 50 years of world premier off-road racing. 50 years of battling the gnarliest woods racing on the planet. It's time to start a new chapter. The next 50 years starts now.
Well, a historic season of GNCC. 50 years racing the Grand National Cross Country Racing Series, and a championship is on the line. When we say history, this is what we're talking about. Grant Davis from row number 2 in the driver's seat for the overall championship. He'll line up on row number 1 today. still racing the 250, but it is going to be a mano-a-mano battle between him and Ben Kelly, who sits in the number 2 spot. We'll crown a champion today, and we'll put this one down in the history books forever. 50 years of GNCC, and it all wraps up right here today on RacerTV.com. Are you ready to go GNCC racing?
Look at that. That is a full XC1.
Is this a NASCAR race? I think if Johnny can maybe send it around the outside like he's trying to do there. Josh Toth gets the overall win with an elapsed time of 3:10.04, edging out Stu Baylor by less than 3 seconds.
Racing dirt bikes, it's a lifestyle. It's something where every single choice you make sets you on the path to how you're going to succeed or perform. You live this every second of the day.
Stu hauling the mail.
Stu is one of the most gritty riders out there.
Johnny out front, Caleb pushing as hard as he can.
This is everything they have.
That was a battle.
That was a hell of a ride by both of those men.
Like he's got a cougar on the back of the bike.
Stu Baylor taking the inaugural Talladega GNCC win. Been doing a great job, extremely patient, extremely intelligent out there, even in the heat of battle, and it's paying off for him right now.
2 wins in a row for King Kelly.
Overall leader Grant Davis, as well as your physical leader out on the course.
Checkers are records, and Grant Davis comes out on top, your overall winner on corrected time and physically.
3 hours is a long time. 3 hours of racing is gnarly.
I know I can show up and I know I can win on any given week.
Well, Johnny, one more to go. 50 seasons of racing GNCC, and we have said all year, it's going to be a historic season. It is a historic season, and now that we are on the brink, one race away now from this one being in the books for everybody, that is not just a cliche that we're saying. This has been historical. I can't help but go back to the banquet. We've said it many times. I'm sure you guys have heard the story till you're sick of hearing it. But Johnny and I, we're at the banquet. We're sitting there with Grant and Dad, and we hear that Grant Davis has these aspirations to win an overall title from row number 2. Johnny, he is a race away from making it happen.
10 months later, he sits here with a 7-point lead in the overall standings, despite an absolute disaster of a round 12, crashing out, scoring no points, no overall points.
Good point.
A very important distinction there. Grant did score a 7th place finish in the XC2 class. Folks, if you at home, if you don't understand how that works, we can explain some other time. Go look at the rules. There was only 7 riders in that XC2 class. He scored 7th place points, which gave him enough points to wrap up that XC2 title. Ben Kelly already having wrapped up that XC1 title. What's left to play for is the Granddaddy Mall, the GNCC overall championship. Grant Davis sits in the driver's seat with a 7-point lead over Ben Kelly. Important to note, those are the only 2 riders left today hitting the starting line with a chance to win that title, and it's going to be an absolute barn burner.
So the big question is, what folks are wondering, what the gossip is about, will Grant Davis line up on row 2? Will he line up on row 1? What bike is he going to race? We had a chance to catch up with Grant and get the words from him directly.
Absolutely. My mindset's the same as it's been all year, just giving my all, and got to be a dog out there. Got to be tough and strong and just do everything I can to get this done. I'll be XC1 on a 250. But I was going to race the 350, but I haven't had much time on it, so I'm going to decide to race the 250. Yeah, absolutely. I think just being on one for, I've been on a KTM 250 for this is my 3rd year. So I think it's just, I'm comfortable on it right now, and I've been riding a 350 for the whole time I've been on a 250, but still I just haven't done any testing on it yet much or anything. I know I'm faster on it, but I haven't done much of a, longer moto on it, let's say. Like, I've done hour motos or whatever, but I haven't done like a local race or anything to kind of see how I feel on it. But I'm definitely going to do a lot this winter and this off season to get ready for next year.
All right, folks, so there you have it. Straight from the horse's mouth, Grant Davis will be stepping up to that front row racing XC1, but still aboard that familiar 250cc machine that he's done so much damage on already in 2025. Mikey, we can theorize about what that means and how it's going to turn out. We're going to find out here in about 180 minutes. But I think a good move for Grant, to get himself on even ground and even playing field. He's going to line up right next to Ben Kelly. They're going to go out there. They're going to do battle. And he's on a machine he's very comfortable with. There was a lot of speculation that maybe he'd he'd be on that 350. And I think, in my opinion, a smart move to stay on the machine he's familiar with. And he can make the decision what he wants to race next year in the next couple of months. But right now, he's doing everything that he can to try to get this title locked up.
I agree with you completely, and I think it's one of those things where, okay, if the XC2 title was wrapped up, if the overall title was wrapped up, either for Grant or Ben, maybe we see him on that 350 today, but I think it's a right call. Go with what you're familiar with, what you've had extreme success with. And we had the little rule change there for a little bit, a couple of races. So we've already seen him line up on row one with these guys. We know what he's capable of. And now it comes down to today of Grant either just needs to have a decent race and hang close with Ben Kelly, or the flip of that, Ben Kelly's got to finish well in front of Grant to make this happen.
Yeah, and what it comes down to with the 7-point differential, and keep in mind, folks, this is not it's a 2-horse race for the championship, but it's not a 2-rider race. Yeah, We've got so many other riders out there that are going to be throwing their hat in the mix for the win for a podium. But with a 7-point differential, it really comes down to, if you're Ben Kelly, win. Yep. That gives you a 5-point advantage right away, and you need to hope that someone else can bump Grant Davis back to at least that number 3 spot, which would be enough to get it done. If Ben Kelly wins, Grant Davis third, Ben Kelly is your champion. What it comes down to, 7 points is the differential. We'll do the math a million times throughout the show if these guys are running close. But again, we've talked about so many other riders coming out, making a statement here as of late. Obviously, 2 weeks ago, Caleb Russell coming back with a historic comeback win after over 5 years, 1,918, or something, 900, 1,800, or I don't know, 1 million days since his last race. I think it was like 1,918 days since his last win, coming out, getting the win on that Ampro Yamaha. And, you know, obviously a lot of momentum in his corner. Josh Strang riding incredibly well, putting that machine on the podium. Cody Barnes only 3 seconds away from winning his first ever overall. Cody Barnes and Angus Reardon still locked in a very close championship battle. And that is a very important battle because that is over the number 3 overall. Right. You know, that is nothing to shake a stick at. 3rd overall in the GNCC overall championship is serious, and those guys separated by only 1 point coming in today. You know they're going to be throwing down so many riders in our XC1 and XC2. Liam Draper has been on a hot streak as of late, just missing out by inches to the win to Caleb Russell 2 weeks ago. You know, and so many other riders trying to throw their hat in the ring here today and grab this win and go out on top at the end of 2025.
It's going to be a good one. A championship on the line, national numbers on the line, pride, momentum, you name it. It is on the line today here at Ironman. You've heard enough from us. We want to see what these guys are going to be facing today as far as the course is concerned. For that, we're going to throw it to Jackson Burrell, who stands by with our trail boss, Jared Bolton, for Yamaha Racing track description.
All right, thanks, guys. I'm indeed here with our trail boss, Jared Bolton. Jared, as we roll into our final race of the year, Ironman, what can we expect?
Well, you can expect more of those awesome trails that make Ironman so popular. You know, this is a huge race. Everybody knows that. And it's not just about the spectators. There's a ton of racers that come out to this. And it's pretty obvious why. Once you get out there and see how beautiful the woods are at Ironman Raceway, you know why so many people want to come be a part of this event. The track here is pretty fast. You know, there's not a lot of tight stuff, big field sections, but the woods, they're so much fun. The best dirt in the country, in my opinion, is right here on this piece of property. Good flowy trails, lots of ups and down hills, which is crazy. You're coming here and everything's flat. You'd never think that some of the biggest hills we ride all year are right here on this piece of property, but sure enough, good up and down, off camber, fast, flowy stuff. Great racing here at Ironman.
You can't beat it, and of course Ironman Hill as well. There you go, guys. That's what you can expect here at Ironman.
All right, there you have it, guys. Jackson and Jared have come through with all the insider information on what we're going to be facing out there today on this Ironman GNCC racetrack. We're going to let our man Mikey Waynes head down, do some 10-second calls, get the action underway, all these guys off and started, and we're going to bring every minute of the racing action live to you right here on Racer TV right after this.
Everywhere but the seat. The seat is leather.
Alan, we get it. You love your bike. We do too.
That's why we're America's #1 motorcycle insurer.
But do you have to wedge it into everything?
What? I don't do that. This reminds me of my bike. The Wolf was about the size of my new motorcycle. Have you seen it, by the way? Happy birthday, Grandma!
Really?
Look how the brushstrokes follow the line of the gas tank.
Hey!
Hey! Brought my +1. Jamie.
Every generation believes they've invented the best way. With age comes wisdom. We've come to realize that every piece of knowledge is learned, passed down from those generous and patient enough to teach.
Let's take a look.
Legacy. It's not about leaving something behind to be remembered by. It's realizing that the future lies within the next generation.
Let's call it a night. All right.
The nature of true progress is humbly building something bigger than yourself. Rocky Mountain ATV MC. This is our legacy.
Progressive GNCC Racing is brought to you by Progressive. Progressive could save you hundreds of dollars on your automobile and motorcycle insurance. Specialized E-Turbo bicycles. It's you, only faster. RockyMountainATVNC.com. Get ready. Well, thank you for that voice of Griff Cotter. And with that wrapped up now, we ask for your continued undivided attention. If you're on the starting line with your machines shut down, as we will now turn the microphone over to our trail boss, Mr. Ryan Eccles, for a course description. Ryan?
Yeah, thank you, Mikey. Yeah, it's pretty good today. It's getting a little rough, but it's not that dusty. You're going to get a little bit more in the field once this thing sets for another half hour, but you guys will turn it back up. So you guys are going to leave the start here, head right into the woods. It opens up a lot in there, so there's plenty of passing opportunities that first straightaway when you get in there. You guys will head down over the hill, a couple little zigzags. You'll have that real silty hill to bring you back up over to the 1 mile mark. From there, you got just through the Enchanted Forest, all good stuff there. Jump out in the field just for a second, back in the woods, back out here in this big field out front, over to the 2 mile mark, back down in the woods for a second, and back out in the field one more time before you go back in Enchanted Forest. Down over the 3 mile mark. When you guys get to the 3, you guys will turn right. You guys will go up Ironman Hill. When you guys come down the other side, you guys can go up the ravine, or it's arrowed off to the left. You guys all have seen that. You can go up. That's a little shorter. That'll bring you back down the point. Cross over the creek there. You guys will head out, go up Twins over to the 4 mile mark, and bring you back down on the water truck road on the moto truck. Back over in the woods. Same thing the morning's been doing. Getting a little whooped out there coming back up over the hill about the 4 1/4. So just pay attention to that. That'll take you out past the 5 mile mark. You'll drop down underneath the road through that culvert pipe out there. It's still holding up really good. Through that, back up through the log jam. One little fast straightaway before you get down in the woods to the 6. And back up over the hill, back out in the big field section, a little bit of woods, another big field section over to the 7. And all good from there, guys. 7, back down motocross, 8. Back up over the hill, a little field section. You go through the Ultimate Warrior, over past the 9, checkpoint over the hill. Back up, that just like I told everybody, I think you guys have all seen it, but behind that green fence, be aware that we chicaned it back there. So when you go back there, you got to pretty much single file to get through that chicane. So you guys have a heads up on that. So you get across that, you're kind of in and out of the fields a couple of times, past the 10, 11, back over across that 2-way, the 12 onto the moto track. And when you guys come back, the motocross finish line, you guys will make a right, go through Pro Pits, back out of there through the finish line, back up in Sano and tie you in here. So anybody on Auxiliary Pro Pits, we opened up the moose tape there. So when you need a gas, you go in there. We didn't change anything. It's going to be just, it'll be up to you to pull into Auxiliary to get fuel when you need it. So good luck, have fun, and pay attention to those arrows.
Racers, now that you've had an opportunity to inspect the race course,
have heard the race procedures and a description of the race course. If you feel that either you or your machine is not prepared, then now's the time for you to withdraw for a complete refund of your entry fee. No questions asked. It is your responsibility to operate your machine in a safe manner, maintaining control at all times. Extreme caution is required when approaching areas with a high concentration of fans. Do not take unnecessary risks that endanger the safety of fans. You will be penalized for reckless racing. Fans, due to the nature of GNCC racing, there is no fence barrier around the race course. It is your responsibility to keep yourself and your children a safe distance from the race course. Never turn your back on oncoming racers. Use extreme caution when crossing the race course. And remember, stay off the racetrack. For the safety of everyone, unauthorized drones are prohibited and will be confiscated. Finally, unauthorized pit vehicles are prohibited and may be confiscated. Motorcycles, minicycles, and electric mountain bicycles with a throttle are prohibited. Absolutely no pit vehicles permitted in the woods or on the racetrack. Crew members are prohibited from using pit vehicles during the race. Thank you for your cooperation. Have fun and race safe.
Well, thank you for that once again, voice of Griff Cotter. And with that wrapped up now, ladies and gentlemen, we ask for your continued undivided attention for a very special presentation. We'll turn the microphone over to our event director, Mr. Tim Cotter. Tim?
Thank you, Mikey. Welcome to Ironman. Welcome to the culmination of our 50th year of racing. 50 years, a half a century. Many of you have been racing with us for more than 10 years. Your parents raced, maybe your grandparents raced with GNCC, and we don't take that lightly. Everything we do is founded on the premises of fun, family, fairness, faith, and the American flag, and we will continue to strive to do that. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm happy to report. Oh, I see. I'm happy to report that although we made some changes this year with no pit vehicles, that was very controversial. No concert, very controversial. You are about to start on the largest GNCC we've ever had. 2,881 entries this year, surpasses the record that happened 2 years ago where we were at 2,825. So 2,881. Auntie, I know you were looking for that number, but that's where we are. Our spectator count, we will work on that for you as well. But thank you on behalf of all of us at GNCC Racing and the AMA. We thank you for coming out and participating in this mammoth event. We really appreciate it. This being October, it's Cancer Month, Cancer Prevention Month. And as always, we continue to raise money that goes to the local community, the Montgomery County Foundation, Community Foundation. And the money that we raise here pays for mammograms for people throughout this region that can't afford the mammograms, so that we can detect breast cancer before it gets too far down the road. And I'm happy to tell you that with the donation number for this year, we have surpassed $75,000 since we started doing this. And so Kelly and Sarah is here. Come on up here, ladies, from the Montgomery County Commission, Community Foundation. And we are now going to give a guarantee of $10,000. Now, where does this money come from? The Wakowskis and several of you have raised money. The Walker Fowler racing team put in $1,000. Yamaha has a program that if you win the race here or win a championship, they assess a value to that, and they put in many thousands of dollars. We won't know that number until after today. But Yamaha has always contributed in a big way. So Jennifer, you and your team, and we thank you so much for the Yamaha corporate people that are putting the money in. And then the rest comes from GNCC Racing, Carrie and the Coombs family, and on behalf of all of you. So here's $10,000 to Kelly and Sarah. It will be put to good use. Hopefully we will prevent breast cancer and ladies that might be having precancerous cells or whatever those cases may be. But this money goes to great use. Thank you so much to all of you here at GNCC Racing, to the Montgomery County Community Foundation. Thank you, women.
I just want to extend a thank you to everyone, all the racers, to Racer Production, Yamaha, the Wakowski family, everyone who gives. As Tim said, this money will be used locally for our Faith Alliance Fund, which funds free mammograms for people in our community. So thank you very much.
All right, GNCC making an impression, a lasting impression on this community. Thank you, ladies. Congratulations. Hopefully that number will grow, and we'll let you know the final number. I'd like to take an opportunity to introduce someone who doesn't speak to us very often, but Carrie Russell is here, so let's pay attention, folks. Carrie Russell, our CEO.
Okay, I'm going to try not to get emotional. On the way over here, when we got the news that this was the biggest GNCC ever, I really got emotional because I'm so happy that you all participated this year in our 50th anniversary. I want to personally thank you for being part of our movie. All year long, you guys saw the film crews, and it is so special that we wrapped up this season with our biggest event ever. And on the behalf of my mom and my brothers, Timmy and Davey and Jeff, all of our families, I just want to tell you I'm going to miss you. I was talking to Griff, and we thought, what do we do now? You know, we get to the end of the biggest, best year ever, and we're not going to see you for a few months. And I'm missing you already. So.
That'd be a good segue to remind you that we could all get together again in a month on the cruise. That'd be a good time to do it. Let's all go on the cruise together. Listen, if you won your championship, you got to go online or call Liz Perry. Her information is on our website. You got to do that to get signed up because that deadline expires next week. And if you don't do it, you're going to be left at the dock. If you didn't win your championship and you want to come and join us, no problem. Again, go to the website. It'll tell you who to contact. The cruise is very inexpensive as crews go, but that number and that price expires next week. So let's make sure if you're interested in doing that, join us. We're going to Fort Lauderdale, December 5, 6, and 7. We're going to sail down to the Keys, and then we're going to sail over to the Bahamas, and then come back. It'll be a nice 3-day weekend for all of us to get together again. Well, we are now ready for those words that I personally appreciate every weekend that we're here, and I miss it when we're not here. And from time to time, we'll call Ricky's agent, Lynn, and say, can you go video Ricky for us? And he'll get dressed and go out in the front yard and give us our prayer. If you haven't gotten a bobblehead doll, are we sold out yet? They're gone. If you didn't get a bobblehead doll, you're not getting one. But for our 50th year, we paid tribute to Ricky with his bobblehead doll. So, Ricky, no pressure. Give us your words here to get us in an attitude of racing.
Thank you, Tim. Carrie Joe, thank you. Let's go to the Lord this afternoon, and let's have a word of prayer together. Heavenly Father, once again, thank you for bringing us all together safely. You have blessed us with such a beautiful weekend. We thank you for that. Lord, watch over these riders this afternoon. Keep them safe. Let them go out there and have a good time together. Once again, thank you for the Shaver family for letting us use this property to have some fun on. Continue to watch over our military men and women in all places of the world. And our leaders, Lord, let them make the right decisions for our country each and every day. Our local policemen, firemen, and paramedics, and all our communities across the United States every day. Keep them safe. Lord, we know the holiday seasons are just right around the corner. Thanksgiving will come first. Help us spend some time with our families and be thankful for what you've done for us all year long. And then a couple of weeks later, Christmas will roll around. Help us remember what that's all about. You sent your son to us, and he grew up, and he died on the cross so our sins could be forgiven. And we thank you for that and every other thing you do for us every day. Lord, we've been coming here a long time. There have been a lot of good memories made here. We just thought maybe this afternoon there can be a few more made. And then we're going to start going down the road home. Take us all home safely so one day we'll get back together like this and we'll have some more fun. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
I think it's okay to put your hands together for Ricky Towery. We love you, Ricky. You know, we come here, and I can't believe that on your way home you won't use the F word. You're going to say, Mom, Dad, honey, I sure did have fun this week, because it's all about fun. And we do it with family. Look at the families that are here together, our extended family. We do it on a playing field that is fair. We pray 8 or 9 or 10 times a weekend. We hear the words from Ricky Towery, and that is our faith. And now, would you please all rise, and if that second row could step out to that front row, we are going to complete the 5 Fs. And that is our flag. Take a moment. It's 1 minute and 26 seconds. Listen to the words of how our country was founded and help us appreciate living in the greatest land on the planet. Please join singing as we honor America.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
just about ready to set it off now one more time in 2025, baby. Big John, you ready? Let's do it, baby. All right, without further ado, and we want to say hello and welcome to those watching at home on racertv.com. We are about to introduce your starting row for the XC1 Pro Class here today. Rolling to the line first, the 530 out of Connecticut, riding aboard the FMF Factory Racing Red Bull KTM, Ben Kelly. Rolling to the line next, the 198 out of Waynesburg, Pennsylvania, riding aboard the Ambro Yamaha, Liam Draper. Up next, the 514 out of Hodges, South Carolina, riding aboard the Rocky Mountain Red Bear Racing Team Green Kawasaki, Stu Baylor. Up next, the 557, coming off a win here in 2025, the winningest rider in GNCC history out of Boonville, North Carolina, riding aboard the Pro Yamaha, Caleb Russell. The number 3 out of Livingston, Tennessee, riding aboard the Flat Rock Motor Club Factory Racing Gas, Jordan Ashburn. Up next, the number 8 out of North Carolina, riding aboard the Phoenix Racing Honda, Mike Wakowski. Coming up next, the number 7 out of Denver, North Carolina, riding aboard the Liqua Moly Factory Racing Beta, Josh Strang. Up next, the 212 out of Duval, Washington, riding aboard the Enduro Engineering Triumph, the rough and rowdy Ricky Russell. Up next, the 314 out of South Carolina, riding aboard the Rocky Mountain Red Bear Racing Team Green Kawasaki, the Grizzly Grant Baylor. Up next, making his official XC1 debut. They call him the Playboy. He's in the fight for a national championship here today out of Pennsylvania. The FMF Factory Racing Red Bull KTM, Grant Davis. The 989 out of Williamstown, West by God, Virginia, on a Racecraft Racing Team back KTM, Bad Duval. The 470 out of Fort Worth, Texas, riding aboard the Kawasaki, Joshua Cartwright. Up next, the 336 out of Moxville, North Carolina, on a Bicon Services JDP and Moose Off-Road backed Honda, Ryder Lafferty. Up next, the 347 out of Jefferson, Georgia, riding aboard the Pro Yamaha, Evan Smith. And your defending 2024 national champion, the number 1 out of King, North Carolina, riding aboard the FMF Factory Racing Red Bull KTM, Johnny Gerard. And last but certainly not least, we say a big hello and welcome to the number 28 out of Denver, riding out of Denver, North Carolina, aboard the Liqua Moly Factory Racing Beta, Jai Dishon. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is your starting row for the XC1 Pro class here at the Yamaha Racing Ironman GNCC. And as our pro riders make their way to row number 1, a reminder, all spectators outside of authorized media and staff must be behind the white stringer line. Must be behind the white stringer line. Thank you, guys. And now, DJ Judd, makes his way out of the mobile entertainment activation transport into the Yamaha R Max 1000. He throws on the gold sparkle helmet one last time, and this is where we like to say, DJ Judd, remove the meat. DJ Judd is going to make his way out of that exit over there, so make some room for him. And if you got an e-bike over there, they're expensive, and they just might be in the way. So make some room for DJ Judd. Well, never mind. DJ Judd's going to move it on the outside. Now all attention goes down into turn number 1, where the maestro, Ricky Towery, takes the reins of this race. And we go as Ricky goes. Ricky lets our riders know 1 minute. 1 minute until we're ready to go. Ironman GNCC Racing, as Ricky Towery now looks down at his watch. He'll keep an eye on the time, and we wait with bated breath for the waving of the blue flag. And there it is, blue flag waves, blue flag waves. Shut them down, shut them down, shut them down, as we are just about ready to roll now. And I gotta ask you, Ironman GNCC, are you ready to go GNCC racing? Oh, that's pretty good, but this is the culmination of 50 years of racing GNCC. This is the finale of our 50th season. One last time together in 2025. Get loud, get proud. Are you ready to go GNCC racing? 10 seconds for row number 1, the XC1 Pro. Bang, and they're off. Ben Kelly out in front, the number 530, but it's Mike Wakowski sneaking in there. Power on the ground. No, it's going to be Jordan Ashburn, the number 3, grabbing the Landers KTM Whole Shot Award. An early lead as we turn our attention now. A championship on the line between Ben Kelly and Grant Davis, both rocking the XC1. Grant Davis decides to stay on the 250, and now attention turns to the XC2 250 Pro class. A Landers KTM Whole Shot Award up for grabs as the blue flag waves. We got them shut down, and we are just about ready to roll for row number 2. Landers KTM Whole Shot Award up for grabs, and we're ready to roll in 10 seconds. Angus Reardon, Lyndon Snodgrass, Toby Cleveland, Brody Johnson, T-Rex, Nick DeFeo, Jack Mentha, Jacob Liscombe, Jack Walker, Gage Husley, Cody Barnes, and Joe Cunningham. Round the first turn we go, and it's going to be the 2-1-3 of Toby Cleveland, grabbing the whole shot from Landers KTM, and more importantly, the early lead for the XC2 class. XC3 125, 10 seconds. Isaiah Brown, Daniel Starnes, Ryder Siggety, and Jason Crawford. Into the first turn we go, 3-1 on the machine. Let's get a look at the helmet sticker. That's going to be the 4-7-4 Ryder Siggety, grabbing that whole shot, an early lead right there. Row number 4, 10 seconds. 258, Colton Shields, Peyton Wills, Carson Kruger, Cooper Jones, Gavin Simon, Chase Landers, Collier Martinez, James Jenkins, Colby Davis, Brady Dillbeck, Jeremy Hamilton, Michael DeLosa, Lane Whitmer, Cole Wright, and Hunter Smith. No doubt about it, the 2-2-0, that's Cooper Jones on that Factory Connections back ride, out in front with the early lead. Open A, 10 seconds. Samuel Evans, Kiefer Galliano, Van Adams, TJ Brown, Will Steven Piper, Trevor Hewlin, Easton Morgan, Jaden Wolf, Felipe Laguinas, Landon Turpan, Ryder Varick, Jacob McPherson, Meatball. And that's my man Meatball on cue right there. A whole shot machine, that young man. 4-stroke A-lights, 10 seconds. Logan Pellegrini, Brady Beerbaum, Bryce Woodrum, Braden Baisley, Nicholas Hinchrin, Braden Slade, Tyler Shields, Ethan Harwell, Rivers Morris, Carlo Clearly, Ryan Amancio, Zachary Duff, Lane Smith, and the 4-1-4, that's CW, Caleb Wood out of Donald, South Carolina on that Liette and 100% back ride, grabbing that early lead as we reset the deck with the 150A. Ready to roll. 10 seconds. Jack Whalen, Davin Scheich, Bad Bo Martin, Colton McQuarrie, Gage Gorelnick, and Cade Stacks. Let's see. Oh, around the outside, little dab. And it's going to be the 4-6-1, a Gage Gorelnick out of Connecticut. Grabbing that whole shot in early lead. Junior A, 25 plus. 10 seconds. Mario Tonchev, Travis Hardcastle, Zachariah Tinky, Tyler Braniff, Andrew Tinker, Andrew Oplinger, Arden Shelley, Eric Douglas, Wyatt Ford, Sean Cochran, Joshua Tock, Corey Jordan, Andrew Boggs, Michael McDonald, and that looked like the 3-5-6. I believe that was Travis Hardcastle out of Bradenburg, Kentucky, grabbing that whole shot in early lead right there. 10 seconds. Vet A, 30 plus. Grant Marriott, Clint Simpson, William Wagner, Wyatt Schumann, Brandon Wakefield, Brandley Comer, Mark Maines, Ryan Morantz, Luke Koenig, Benjamin Schmidt, and Gregory Funk. Who's got the funk? Gregory's got the funk. 4-8-1, grabbing a whole shot. An early lead right there. Senior A, 40 plus, 10 seconds. Smiling, Frank Messina, Pete Petrucci, Fernando Pino, Joe Marsh, Miss Leno Batista, David Garsk, Vinny Tomich, Holton Ramos, Brandon Cook, Cody Hosta, James Bauer, and Darren Darmos. 85, can't quite make out that helmet sticker, but the 85, couple riders getting tangled up. Back on their feet, back on two wheels, trying to get them fired up. The 180 does, that's a 4-4-0, shakes his head. He wants to talk about it. 250B, 10 seconds. Devin Moore, Lennox Riley, Joshua Johnson, Landon Phillips, David Singleton, Brandon Slotzer, Dylan McDonald, Michael Sturrock, Wilson Rosenberg, Aiden Figueroa, Christian McCauley, Philip Likens, and Colton Rains. 79 on the helmet, 079 on the helmet rather. That's Devin Moore out of Queensville, Ontario, grabbing that one. 10 seconds. Open B, Nate Garrison, Cody Harding, Cameron Linden, Blake Freiberger, Philip Odell, Keegan Storms, Colin Pill, Mark Cole, Austin Benniger, Jace James, Noah Abner, Colton Painter, Dylan Komposki, Luke Thurfield, and Logan Reniger. That might have been Logan Reniger out in front, I believe, on the Kawasaki. Yes, the 902 will take the whole shot. 10 seconds. 4-stroke B lights. Joseph Shalott, Blake Reinhardt, Colton Barber, Will Thurfield, Hunter Slavens, Ryan Glassmeyer, Sawyer Ferris, Matt Gray, Alan Green, Jace Norton, Wyatt Johnson, Hunter Carey, Owen James, Kid Norris, and the 2-1-5, Joseph Shalott grabs a whole shot, an early lead right there as we reset with the 150B. 10 seconds. Nico Pursuti, Bailey Shadwell, Liam Kobadice, Dylan Royer, Zach Johnson, Nash Pearson, Levi Wilkins, Cole Van Zandt, Gage Selby, Seth Meyer, Isaac Leitner, Charlie Simpson, Mason Cowan, Logan Grounds, and Hayden Newsom. Oh, too close to call, side by side into the second turn, 3 wide. That's what GNCC racing is all about. We love to see it. All right, 10 seconds. Junior B, 25 plus. Austin Belaski, Tyler Rose, Zachary Angelo, Keaston Gagel, Chadwick Thompson, Judson Bogues, Austin Frank, Zach Dennis, Chancellor Alt, Cameron Hughes, Jonathan Bottomy, Aaron Waldrop, Dylan Kinsell. And that looked like maybe the 812 Michael Hall out of Lost Creek, West by God, Virginia, grabbing that one. Vet B, 30 plus. 10 seconds. Zachary Floyd, Vincent LaBelle, Marcus Slade, Mason Stevens, Justin Fischel, Josh Hess, Matthew Hall, Devin Hall, Nick Lobby, Joseph Evans, Doug Hughes, Kevin Campbell, Nicholas Gallo, Ryan Bierman, Dylan Davis, Daniel Zorton, Jeffrey Ward, Grant Jones. Look at that, side-by-side, handlebar to handlebar. Man on the inside, oh, and he slides out and drops about, oh, mercy sakes, 15 positions. You can't win it in turn 2, but you can lose it. 10 seconds. Senior B, 40 plus. Larry Hopper, Brandon Black, Martin Fortner, Jason Corbin, David Trinkle, Jesse Murtha on the outside, way on the outside, but grabs a hole shot. Rocking and rolling. Mercy sakes alive, that's it. Wow. We got a championship on the line. Ben Kelly out in front battling with Jordan Ashburn. Grant Davis lining up on row number 1, still racing the 250. Can he capture the championship? Will Ben Kelly prevail and grab it for himself? We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors. This is the Yamaha Racing Ironman GNCC.
Everywhere but the seat. The seat is leather.
Alan, we get it. You love your bike. We do too.
That's why we're America's #1 motorcycle insurer.
But do you have to wedge it into everything?
What? Don't do that. This reminds me of my bike. The Wolf was about the size of my new motorcycle. Have you seen it, by the way? Happy birthday, Grandma!
Really?
Look how the brushstrokes follow the line of the gas tank.
Hey!
Hey! Brought my +1. Jamie.
Every generation believes they've invented the best way. With age comes wisdom. We've come to realize that every piece of knowledge is learned, passed down from those generous and patient enough to teach.
Take a look.
Legacy. It's not about leaving something behind to be remembered by. It's realizing that the future lies within the next generation.
Let's call it a night. All right.
The nature of true progress is humbly building something bigger than yourself. Rocky Mountain ATV MC. This is our legacy.
Progressive GNCC Racing is brought to you by Progressive. Progressive could save you hundreds of dollars on your automobile and motorcycle insurance. Specialized e-turbo bicycles. It's you, only faster. RockyMountainATVMC.com. Get ready.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the 50th Annual Progressive Insurance Grand National Cross Country Racing Series. This is the 2025 Yamaha Racing Ironman GNCC. My name is Jackson Burrell. I'm going to be alongside Johnny Gallagher and Zach Heron, along with Mikey Waynes here in a few minutes to bring you today's action.
Zach, taking a look here at Ironman Hill. It is good to be back in Indiana and for some two-wheel racing today.
Man, it is absolutely fantastic to be back here at GNCC Jackson. And like you said, Ironman, synonymous with GNCC, one of the primo locations, one of the favorite stops for where people come to see. And we can tell because we got news, record-breaking turnout here at Ironman 2025, 50 years of GNCC and bigger than ever before. But let's show you how this afternoon race got kicked off with our specialized start recap. As we all know, we've got an overall championship battle coming into this final round. Ben Kelly and Grant Davis, and Grant Davis jumping up to the XC1 Open Pro start line. He's on that far inside line and was about second to last, headed into the first corner, tucked around the inside and made a ton of passes. He's actually going to sweep around about fourth place. It's going to be Jordan Ashburn grabbing the whole shot with Mike Wakowski right behind him. Johnny Gerard making some quick moves into the number 3 position just in front of his teammate Ben Kelly, and there is the kid Grant Davis right behind. So bad start, puts it aside, turns it into not too bad of a position headed into the woods. Now your XC2 class, the flag drops. Couple of riders going wide. I believe that was Reardon going out way wide, but it was last year's winner, Toby Cleveland. He feels dangerous here on property of Ironman, and he's trying to repeat here once again in 2025. Look like one of the Johnson boys up there as well as they head off into the woods for your XC2 class. And last but certainly not least, the sweet sound of the XC3 125 class. Ryder Siggety jumping up into the mix and making some noise right off of the bat. He's going to be credited with your XC3 hole shot just in front of Isaiah Brown. Already some position swapping back and forth in that XC3 class as well. Like we said, record turnout here, I believe, including in this afternoon race. So going to be a ton of lap traffic and a ton of riders out on course. Let's take a look at this Yamaha Racing track map. Johnny, this is one of those courses that's got a little bit of everything. We've got some open field sections. We've got some tighter woods. We've got a creek crossing. We've got a hill climb. It's Ironman.
Absolutely. It's a very interesting racetrack, especially this weekend with the conditions. Not getting a whole lot of rain here. We were expecting dust, but somehow the Indiana soil delivers. We've got some good moisture in the ground. We'll see that when we get to our shots here in the woods. Not a lot of dust kicking up in the woods. They put some water down in the fields, but it is going to be a challenging race course for these guys today. Reports from this morning and even from yesterday, a lot of square edge chop, going to make it very hard for these riders. Going to see a lot of impact on the wrists, the shoulders, and it's going to beat these guys up over the course of the next 180 minutes. One thing we know for sure, a lot of hype coming in today, boys, and it's so far already delivering.
Let's take a look at our point standings headed into this final round, brought to you by Rocky Mountain ATVMC. It's Grant Davis in the overall lead right now with 247 points. And after our last round, Ben Kelly now only 7 points behind with 240 points. Cody Barnes, Gus Reardon, and Liam Draper rounding out your top 5. But obviously the focus here, everybody talking about that 7-point difference. Grant Davis, who joins the XC1 field here this weekend, trying to make history and grab that overall victory.
Yeah, absolutely, making history. Not only 3 riders in the top 10 overall out of that XC2 class, but 3 riders in the top 5 overall. And interesting to point out, we mentioned in our show opener here, Grant Davis jumping up to that XC1 class, but electing to stay on the familiar and comfortable 250cc machine. Says it's just what he's used to. Obviously, it's worked for him throughout the entirety of this season. Let's not make a change.
Leaders on screen. Yeah, looks like that was Jordan Ashburn. Mike Wakowski still just behind. Is that Johnny Gerard, Ben Kelly, and Grant Davis. So no change right up front.
Yeah, coming through a little further back. Looks like we've got one of the Red Bear Rocky Mountain ATVMC Kawasaki's. One of the Baylor boys. Could be Grant, could be Stu. We're just not sure. But as you pointed out, the number 3 out front and sitting in the number 2 spot, it is the 8 on the Phoenix Racing Honda of Mike Wakowski, a home state Indiana boy, relocated to South Carolina, but originally from Indiana. Then Gerard. Then it's Kelly and Grant Davis. So those two already hooking up. Ricky Russell there on that Triumph machine. Then it's the 198 of Draper just behind him, and it's actually Grant Baylor. Then Caleb Russell, our last round winner. Looks like Evan Smith there behind him. Then Thad Duvall on the 989 machine coming out next, and then looks to be Josh Strang, and there is Big Stu Baylor there here at the 8-mile marker, followed closely by Ryder Lafferty, and these guys already starting to really stretch the throttle cables. No discussion today about time correction for our championship. it's kind of nice for us, folks. Not whoever crosses the line first, but we won't need to wait for time correction to cross the finish line. We'll know that if Grant Davis crosses the finish line within 7 points, that doesn't mean 7 positions. That's worth pointing out because we do have bonus points for our top 4 overall positions, with our first place playing 30, 25, 21, 18, and then drops back to 16. From there, now we see our XC2 riders coming through. There's Gus Reardon following very closely behind Nick DeFeo. There's Brody Johnson, quick off the start there. We did see Cody Barnes come through already, and that is interesting because just 2 weeks ago, Cody Barnes only 3 seconds off of potentially his first overall win, so you know he's coming in with a little bit of extra fuel this weekend.
Taking a look now at our Yamaha Racing Lives. We're on the bike-only section.
A little bit of rest for these guys. This is the only part of the course they'll be racing today that isn't already chewed up from our millions and millions of racers here at the Ironman GNCC that have already traversed this course throughout the time that we've been racing since yesterday morning at 8 a.m. There's been racing going on all weekend, all the way through dark last night with our Stasic races. Man, it's just been an action-packed weekend, and so many people here to witness this potentially historic day for an overall championship on Sunday.
And we talked about some new faces in the XC1 field, some new names jumping into XC2 as well. Just the tail end of that last camera shot caught JoJo Cunningham jumping up to the XC2 class. So that's one of the cooler factors about Ironman is it is the end of the year. Some titles wrapped up, and some riders jumping up to that next class, dipping their toes in the water, feeling things out, and it gives us a little preview as to what's to come next year.
Looks like a preview for potentially a battle for the lead here, as it looks like things have tightened up with Ashburn now having some company there. That number 2 spot starting to run up on. We do see some dust kicking up there, but again, the track really in prime conditions here in Crawfordsville, Indiana this weekend.
Looks like Kelly's starting to gain just a little bit of time on the number 1 machine just ahead of him there. Hey, but I do want to mention, guys, we talk about Grant Davis and Ben Kelly here for this overall points championship. Grant Davis did wrap up XC2 there at that last round, and now the second place is still to be decided here with Cody Barnes and Angus Reardon. And we got to talk to Angus Reardon a little bit earlier. He's not going to be satisfied with anything except the second place. He's truly not satisfied with the second place, but if he can't be on that top spot, he wants that second place here today.
Well, interesting, you know, obviously you mentioned that is second place in XC2, but it also is the battle for third place overall.
Yes,
so Grant Davis, Ben Kelly locked into the 1 and 2 spots. We'll find out here in just about another 170-some minutes of racing who claims the big number 1 for the overall championship here in 2025. But the number 3 still very much up for grabs with both Cody Barnes and Gus Reardon sitting there separated by only 1 point. 1 point, Jackson. I mean, there's nothing in it between these guys here, and they are going to throw down here today, not only for bonus money, and I did have an opportunity. I can't speak for Gus's situation, but it does factor in here. Speaking with Cody Barnes, his bonuses are for class, but ultimately, it's not going to matter if it's class or overall. Separated by 1 point, whoever finishes ahead of who here today is going to determine who gets the nod for second in XC1 and third in the overall. And then you got a guy like Jordan Ashburn, Mike Wakowski. They're saying championship battle be damned. Johnny Gerard, same situation. They're not worried about the guys behind him. There is Ben Kelly, and we should be seeing the 922, and there he is of Grant Davis. Those guys fighting it out for the championship. But the riders in front of them wanting to go into 2026 with the momentum and get a win here today.
You know, we've talked about the adaptation of the XC1 class throughout 2025, and I think that's what we're seeing right now. Normally that pace right off the jump has been the strong suit of Grant Davis, but now they've kind of figured out his tricks, and it seems like the rest of the field matching that intensity from the green flag, waiting for things to settle down a little bit, and preventing the XC2 rider or current XC1 rider from picking his way through the pack.
Absolutely. You know, it's when these guys now are racing for overall positions themselves, which they always are, but just because now they're so very much in the mix for the overall championship season, again, we know it's down to 2 riders, but these guys still fighting over top 3 overall positions. They're going to put, look at that, Cody Barnes already starting to open up a gap on that XC2 class, making himself the front runner to potentially earn that number 3, followed closely by, that's one of our visiting. I know Stu Baylor has, I believe that's Cartwright there on that bar machine.
Yep.
From Stu Baylor and that Red Bear Rocky Mountain ATV MC Kawasaki team. He is out here trying, I don't want to say definitively, but it sounded like from his post I saw on social media, potentially his first ever GNCC here this weekend. Said he was pretty excited about it. Ironman is a big event. not just on the track, but off the track. So many things going on this weekend. It really is a festival of racing here in Motoville, USA. Speaking of Motoville, USA, Motoville's own Mikey Wayne's coming.
Holy smokes.
Joining us in the booth. Mikey, being a Crawfordsville kid, you know, growing up here, obviously you're probably almost as old as this race is. I'm just kidding.
Oh, I got 10 years on it, but yeah, thank you.
I was racing it in XC1 the first time we came here. So.
Oh, my.
Yeah. 1995, we came here for the first time. We talked about this on yesterday's show. Crawfordsville, really the first, I won't say the first town, but a town that really rolled out the red carpet for GNCC, bringing in all of the hype that comes with this now, and even at the time, the largest off-road series in the world in terms of entries, in terms of hype. So it's absolutely, when a community like Crawfordsville, Mikey, really just kind of opens up the doors, rolls out the red carpet, it just creates such an environment for hype. And your town, Crawfordsville, has really done that since day one here in GNCC.
We see that battle. This is why people come out to Ironman right here, battles like this. But yeah, you're right. We had Mayor Todd Barton. I call him my mayor. He's all of our mayor here, but receiving, you know, a nice little award courtesy of GNCC Racer Productions or MX Sports. Yeah, they do. They roll out the red carpet like no other, and it's amazing. So I mean, what more fitting way to kind of it all to come to a head, and we wrap up the season finale of the 50th year here.
There we go. So it looks to me like it is still Ben Kelly and Grant Davis running nose to tail there in about our 4th and 5th place position. Jordan Ashburn out front on that Flat Rock Racing gas machine. Quick shout out, had a opportunity to speak with Jamison Grinder, his mechanic.
Oh, yeah.
And he actually, this will be his last race as a full-time mechanic. Has had quite the journeyman career here, working for many teams, many riders over the years. He's been with just about every factory team, a renowned mechanic in this space. And with this being his last race, what a better way to sign off than having your rider out front leading the way, which we've seen so much from Jordan Ashburn, obviously a former champion in the series, multi-time race winner, and to see your bike out front and your rider out there, that's cool. What a great send-off. But he's getting some pressure from behind there, and it seems like it's kind of a yo-yo right now with Mike Wakowski, again, another Indiana kid, not from right here in Crawfordsville, but very nearby, relocated to South Carolina some number of years ago, rides for that Phoenix Racing Honda team. And this is the place where Mike Wakowski kind of cut his teeth as a GNCC racer, as a young youth rider coming up through the ranks. You know, he's got a little bit of extra motivation coming in this weekend, wanting to get it done in front of the hometown's fans, and he's starting to put some pressure on, trying to wrestle the lead away. As he takes a look over his shoulder there, sees the big number 1.
So our producer, Adam Gordon, just let us know that Grant Davis will be held at the finish line for 15 seconds. Johnny, you were probably down there as well. I heard a bike fire up from where I stand. I couldn't tell who it was. I didn't want to speak on it in the moment. But, yeah, it can confirm Grant Davis, an early start. So a 15-second penalty. But, Johnny, that's on the better side of those penalties.
That is the least of the penalties you can receive for that rule infraction. And what happens there is, and I won't say definitively, but, Grant Davis getting sideways, and he's going to give up at least one spot there to what appeared to be Ricky Russell. Looks like Russell getting around on that Factory Racing Triumph Enduro Engineering machine. And we see our top 3, now 4 through on screen. Look at this. Looks like Ben Kelly has gotten around Johnny Gerard. So Ben Kelly seeing an opportunity and seizing it. We've seen Ben in the last few races. Can't speak to exactly what's been going on. He's been riding well, but this has not been the race winner and consistent podium fixture that we'd seen throughout so much of 2025. But here early, looking strong, and now up into a podium position with just Jordan Ashburn and Mike Wakowski here on screen ahead of him. All new track here too, fresh track here to the pro pits. You see all the mechanics out signaling the riders, letting them know where they're at. Obviously Jordan Ashburn knows he's out front, but they're still giving him splits, letting him know what's going on. You see, look at that long look over the shoulder from Wakowski, wanting to know who's behind him, and he's going to see the big 530, the factory FMF Red Bull KTM of Ben Kelly sitting in that 3rd place spot with a potential championship on the line here today. Grant Davis will, right here at scoring, be receiving a 15-second penalty assessed. Looks like some of our AMA and GNCC officials down there now waiting on Grant Davis to come through. Looks like he lost more than just one spot. He should be the next rider through, and here he comes. In fact, they're telling him, and he knows, oh, wait, they're going to.
Oh, they got, okay. So they're, I wondered that too. It's very brief. And probably explaining it to him now, you can tell by the body language, not upset, but, you know, I think aware. As Jeremy Holbert, our AMA official down there, keeping an eye on the clock, and Grant Davis back to work. Johnny, this is going to be, we've seen him do some amazing things, right? But we saw the little mistake he had out there, kind of slid out. Now the 15-second penalty. I can't believe I'm saying this, but Grant, maybe deep breath. You're going to be okay. He's still very much in this fight. We've seen him come back from further back, but maybe some of that, a little pressure, feeling the pressure a little bit of just how monumental this is.
Absolutely, and even last race, obviously, with the crash that he had and not scoring any overall points. Mikey, we need to address the situation. He did wrap up that XC2 title.
Yeah.
I miscalled that. I made a mistake.
Thank you for taking the blame, but we all.
Well, we didn't take into consideration that there was less, and there is Draper now also having passed Grant Davis, but again, the weight of that title, Grant Davis has been absolutely phenomenal throughout this whole season. Even last year, grabbing overall wins. There is Caleb Russell. We saw Grant Baylor coming through.
Replay of that little washout right there, slide out by Grant Davis.
And there's a lot of roots, and now because the track is really starting to dry up, and he does the smart thing, doesn't try to turn and go on that hill where it could have turned into a bigger mistake, gives up 2 positions, and then charges right back up the hill. Only a few seconds lost, but it is very easy for those mistakes to start to snowball. Grant Davis, if you're out there listening, it's one of those things you're very much still in this fight. Wait and see when they do check in to see what the official timing and scoring. We know Ben Kelly will have checked in the number 3 spot, but we'll see exactly where Grant Davis checks in. We'll do the points, and then we'll keep updating that throughout the race. We do now have, big surprise, overall leader, XC2 rider Cody Barnes with the lap time of, this one's close though, 26:54.05 for Cody Barnes, 26:54.89. So 0.84 is the advantage for Jordan Ashburn, or for Cody Barnes over Jordan Ashburn, having the overall lead on corrected time by less than 1 full second.
So different rider, but the story continues that an XC2 guy leading the way out in front. And when we look at the timing and scoring, if you deduct, because Grant Davis would have checked in, gotten the lap 1 time, and then lost 15 seconds right away. I know where that would put him at on a probably about in the same spot, I guess.
Yeah, sitting at 11th. It looks like sitting at 11th. The next rider behind him was, let's see here, Grant Davis sitting 11th. Grant Baylor, 5 seconds behind him. 6 seconds back was Caleb Russell. Another 1 second back, Thad Duvall. And so probably sitting in that 14th or 15th place spot overall, meaning that as they run right now with Ben Kelly in the number 5 spot overall, that would be advantage Ben Kelly in the championship as they run right now by 3 to 4 points, depending on exactly where he slides in. But I think we're going to see Grant Davis up the leaderboard higher. Folks, keep in mind, as Mikey pointed out, 1 lap complete, Grant Davis sitting in the number 11 spot, but with that 15-second penalty assessed after the scoring loop, he's going to drop down somewhere in that 14-15 spot in the overall. So that will factor in here, but we see these riders on screen all opting for that inside line there over that log crossing back out to the field just ahead. And it looks to me like, is that Wakowski has gotten around Ashburn?
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yep, Wakowski has taken over the lead. Ashburn in the number 2 spot, and they've stretched it out now a little bit over Ben Kelly and Johnny Gerard in the number 4 spot. And look at this, Liam Draper starting to push now almost to the rear wheel of Ben Kelly in that number 5 spot. This is going to make it very, very interesting for the championship. Ben Kelly knowing really the only thing he can control is go out there, max points. He needs to make passes on the riders in front of him. But with the pressure now coming from behind, it kind of changes the game a little bit. And we need to see if Ben can react to the pressure he's now receiving from Draper. And Draper, just like that, goes around the outside and makes the pass on Ben Kelly. So now back to the number 5 spot is Ben Kelly, so that makes the points that much tighter. We're down to a matter of 2 to 3 points difference between those two riders as they run on the track, but it would still be advantage Ben Kelly.
Man, so Ben out in front, and yeah, Grant Davis, we just got confirmation there. Our producer, OPAG, went back and looked at that replay of the 15-second penalty, so that pushes Grant back to the 16th in the OA. But we know Grant, the Playboy, he will be charging this lap, so it'll be interesting to see where he rolls in. 32 minutes into it, mile marker number 2. Let me ask you, Johnny, this is like, it's probably a silly question. So most of our bikes going over the log jump, a lot of our pro ATVs going over this log jump right here, this tree jump, down tree jump, as opposed to the other line. What's easier, bike or quad on that?
It depends on what your skill set is.
I don't know if I should ask you that question.
For me, it would be nothing on a quad.
Yeah.
But on a bike, I'd be intimidated by it, even though it should be easy. The thing is, throughout the course of the weekend, as the dirt kind of gets piled up against the log, it definitely makes it easier. But what we can't see is on the approach side of the log, it starts to get chewed out, and it can also get cupped or a pocket there, which can throw you coming off. But especially these front runners, they're all going over that with no thought whatsoever. Just lightning like the front. That. There we see Cooper Jones. Yep. I believe he may be. Yep.
Yeah.
He is
top
amateur right now out of that 258 class, sitting in 13th place overall on corrected time on that Landers Racing KTM.
Yeah, we caught that one. Mike Wakowski out in front of Ashburn.
Now we are here, Ironman Hill. This is a huge staple and famed feature here on this racetrack. Jordan Ashburn up in the number 2 spot. And now should come our battle over that final podium position. Ben Kelly now back into third. Johnny Gerard into 4th. So just as quickly as Liam Draper made moves there, unless we missed him. I didn't see Liam Draper come through, so maybe 3 or 4 lines up this as the camera pans and turns. Very easy to, you can see Caleb Russell actually stepping up over the top of Ironman Hill. The first time that was done, I could be wrong, but I believe it was Thad Duvall many years ago. And look at that, Grant Davis charging and just absolutely sprinting up there, trying to make a pass on what appeared to be Josh Strang in front of him on that Liqui factory beta. Big shakeups. Look at this, Ricky Russell was much further up. So something happening there between that field section. There is Jack Walker, 2nd place in that XC2 class, and there is Gus Reardon, 3rd place, trying to track down your XC2 and overall leader, Cody Barnes. Side by side, Brody Johnson. I didn't catch who that other rider was, but man, they're making this Ironman hill climb look easy, and I assure you, if you go down there and look at it with your own eyes, Mike, you've been down there many times, it is anything but easy. But these guys just wheeling right up and even jumping over the top of it. We talked about it a little bit, David. Changed the approach to this section. Now we see T-Rex, Nick DeFeo on screen, running in the number 4 spot in that XC2 Pro Lights class. Look like Toby Cleveland, our whole shot winner in that XC2 class, sitting back in the number 5 spot on scoring, but it looked like there may have been another XC2 rider that had snuck around him in the last few miles of racing here. Flashing ahead to the FMF PowerPoint, mile marker number 4. A little bit further back in the pack here. That was Grant Baylor. There is Caleb Russell on the 557. Grant Baylor really been getting stronger these last few races, missing a lot of the season with an early injury actually coming off of last season. Seemingly getting stronger as the season goes on, getting that confidence, and been riding very well here as of late.
Yeah, he has. And focus today, man. He was talking podiums. He was talking, a win. Wants to finish off the season well. Ben Kelly.
That answers the question. We did miss Liam Draper, but he did. Ben Kelly able to get back around Draper, and Johnny Gerard giving up actually 2 positions, dropping from 3rd to 5th in a few miles of racetrack there. And there is Grant Baylor in the number 6 spot. Caleb Russell coming through now in 7th. Just behind him in 8th, it is Thad Duvall. We missed him on the hill climb as well. Coming through, there is Josh Strang, and here comes Grant Davis, physically in about that number 10 spot, and then very close behind him, Evan Smith. Here comes Stu Baylor. Looks like he's shaking out a little bit of arm pump there, and then the 212 of Ricky Russell, and there is Cody Barnes, your XC2 and overall leader. Look at this. Jack Walker has now closed up the gap on Cody Barnes. That was a pretty good-sized gap, and Angus Reardon coming with him. So the XC2 has once again entered the chat. Not only Grant Davis out there making noise and making waves, Cody Barnes getting a taste of, keep in mind, almost winning that race 2 weeks ago. His first ever overall podium even, almost making it in the center there. 3-point-something odd seconds was the difference. Caleb Russell just edging him out on that final lap of racing.
I talked a little bit to Cody Barnes before we left the track, and he was elated with the performance, and he was like, man, of all people that I lost to, of course it would be the guy with the most wins in history. So, you know, he was bummed, but he's like, if I'm going to lose to somebody, to lose one to KR, that's okay. We'll take that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, coming into that last lap, if memory serves, I think it was around 15 seconds was the advantage. We saw some pit boards throughout that lap talking about the 15. It was down to 12. And I think going into the Penton section, it was around that 12-second margin that Cody Barnes was still holding over Caleb Russell. Cody talking about kind of getting, just not even crashing really, but kind of getting held up and tangled up with some lapped riders, getting kind of battling with some other XC1 riders there, and really felt that that was the difference. Wasn't upset about it. You could tell he was very excited about that first ever overall podium out of that XC2 class. A rider, this is as close as he gets to a home race coming out of Illinois. Good point. And here in Indiana this weekend, you know, he's going to be trying to put something on the board, really get himself not only on that overall podium, but we talked about it before, the number 3 overall for the year up for grabs between he and Gus Reardon.
Yeah, as we see Mike Wakowski, your physical overall leader on the track, at least last we saw. Didn't see Ashburn. There he is. So Ashburn's still sitting in that 2 spot. Gus Reardon, we spoke with him in that pre-race report. Ben Kelly buzzing through right there, and Liam Draper. But Reardon was, you know, I said, I know you're sick of us talking about it in the season that Grant has had, and Gerard. Man, Gerard's looking racy today, by the way. But again, Reardon was very adamant, like he's not happy with his results as the rest of the XC1 goes through. And he's like, I want to win today. I want to better myself and set myself up for next year. Going to have maybe some changes in the offseason for Gus. He didn't allude to that too much. He kept that close to the chest, which is fine. His story to tell. But yeah, Gus not necessarily happy with you know, second fiddle, third fiddle. He wants to be the man.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that just shows the hunger that he has. Another rider that has not been in GNCC racing that long, starting off with that RPM KTM team and then transitioning over to the Landers Racing KTM effort. He's a rider out of Australia that really cut his teeth there, you know, dodging kangaroos for many, many years. Has spent a lot of time here now, but still one of the younger, newer riders here in GNCC. And to finish out the season, even in the number 4 spot overall, which you know he wants to get around Cody Barnes and get that number 3. But either way, a very, very substantial improvement for Gus here in 2025. Looks like Liam Draper has made the pass now on Ben Kelly.
I think you're right.
So that will take Draper up to the number 3 spot and drop Ben Kelly back to 4th. Still, as they run on the racetrack, well, we'll have to wait and see exactly where Grant slots in, keeping in mind he did start on that front row in XC1. So he will be pushed back by Cody Barnes, Jack Walker, and as they run, probably at least Gus Reardon, so another 3 spots back to at least 8th or 9th in that overall. We'll see where he's at exactly when they come through and check in.
So waiting on them to roll through. Mike Wakowski trying to get it done in the home state. Hails from North Carolina now, but started his roots in Indiana. Got a shout out to Mike Wakowski. It's funny, been watching him so long. Remember, he's running locals back in the day here in Indiana, Series MAXC. That's where I got my start, and I don't know that that's necessarily where Mike got his start, but certainly that's where he began to make a name for himself locally. And I always kind of laugh because I got a picture somewhere on an old iPhone of Mike and the MAXC trophy girls who are here in attendance today. At least 3 of them. Kind of cool. So very, very cool stuff. Speaking of Ironman Hill, we got our man, Zach Herron and Jackson Burrell down there getting action on the track. Want to throw it down there, see what those guys are seeing.
Yeah, thanks, Mikey. Of course, we got to mention when we're down here at Ironman Hill, all the fans that we have. Not only do we have record number of racers out here, we have record numbers of fans as well. We have record numbers. Fans, I want to hear you guys get loud for Racer TV one time.
think we can do a little bit better than that. Say hello to Racer. And not only do we have the fans, but of course we have one of the toughest obstacles on the course. The Ironman hill just behind us, and Zach standing by. Ironman hill just behind us, and Zach.
You said it, Jackson. Ironman Hill, one of the most notorious obstacles in GNCC history. Now, right behind me, this is the main line that we're seeing most of our riders take. However, with our XC1 riders, they can make almost anything work. We've seen the little bit farther left-hand line, a couple of top riders use. Some of our XC2 riders seem to like that. Meanwhile, over here on the right-hand side, this is where the Ampro Yamaha riders seem to like. Liam Draper and Caleb Russell both doubling up the hillside. The question isn't so much the line they take on lap one, it's once things get congested. If something gets wrong, we get a bottleneck set up, how are the leaders going to adjust? Right now, looking like we've got 3 or 4 different lines. We'll see whether or not it stays this open throughout the rest of the race. Back to you guys.
Well, thank you for that, Zach Herron, Jackson Burrell down there on location at Ironman Hill, partying with the fans. You guys will have to pass a breathalyzer test when you get back to the booth. I'm kidding. Maybe. We'll see. But
listen, I heard there's a guy down. I don't know if he's still there today, but cooking kettle corn right on the bridge set up. He's got a Starlink so he can take credit card payments.
Oh my! It's not Judd, is it? DJ Judd? I don't think entirely. So. That sounds like something he'd do.
All right, Mike Wakowski out front leading the way, making roost and making it hard for Jordan Ashburn to chase after him in the number 2 spot. But right now, Ashburn looks like he's got his hook somewhat in to the number 8 Phoenix Racing Honda rider. Ashburn looking to close out the season here with a good finish. And then it is Draper in the number 3 spot. Ben Kelly in 4th, taking that outside line on that FMF Red Bull KTM. Draper really trying to stamp the end of this season. And then just behind him, that was Johnny Gerard, but it looks like if we had a change there, hard to tell. There is Caleb Russell and still the 99 of Thad Duvall behind him. Look at this. We got an attempt at an inside move here, and I think that's the 922. It is of Grant Davis trying to make a pass there, and then Evan Smith, Stu Baylor, Ricky Russell. Dust really starting to kick up here in this section of racetrack. The sun has been out all day today, and now we see Cody Barnes coming through. Jack Walker, it looks like, as well. Here we go.
So a little further back.
Yep, so there is Cody Barnes. Look at this, man. I think he has made up even more time on these leaders. He is absolutely shredding this Ironman GNCC racetrack today with an advantage of less than 1 second. Look at this, the battle for second in XC2 and battle for potential overall podium positions between Jack. There's Brody Johnson not too far back as well, was back in that number 10 spot. I think we're going to see him jump up a little closer to possibly near that top 5 overall. And there is the battle again. That is Jack Walker in the number 2 spot. But look at this.
Side by side.
Reardon up the inside, but the Liqui Moly Factory Beta putting the power down on that 2-stroke machine and able to hold off the charge of Reardon there at our 8-mile marker. Man, tough racing for these guys right now on screen. A little further back here at the 4-mile marker at the FMF PowerPoint. These guys are trying to sort this out early here, about 45 minutes into what will be a near or potentially over 3-hour race, deciding our overall championship between Ben Kelly and Grant Davis. And Mikey, I am nothing short of ecstatic for the battle we have here today. And while we never want to see manufactured drama, with Grant Davis starting a little bit early, we've seen the points already tighten up with Davis crashing out of our previous round, scoring no overall points, although he did score enough. We started talking about this earlier. Enough points in the XC1 class because of the fact that he finished one lap.
XC2, yes,
XC2.
Yes, yeah.
Finished one lap and scored 7th place in the XC2 class by completing that 1 lap of racing, and it was enough to put the wraps on that title. So the XC1 and XC2 titles are wrapped up, but the overall championship still to be decided between our 2 champions.
Just incredible. I did see a question posed on YouTube. I know the answer, but it was a good question for those that don't. they posed the question, why wasn't Grant Davis called out first in accordance to points? Those are your top XC1 riders.
Correct.
They go by the XC1 points for your rider intros and spots. So technically speaking, Grant Davis with 0 XC1 points, his points are all based on the overall.
Correct. Well, that's actually...
Did I explain that right, or did I fail?
There was one small part we need to tweak a little bit. So
I tried.
This is going to sound complicated, so I'll try and explain it as best I can. The XC1 points are based off of overall.
Okay.
The XC2 points are based off of the XC2 class.
Okay.
However, to earn XC1 points, you must be registered in the XC1 class.
Okay.
So last year was the first time I had ever seen this, where Liam Draper, our defending XC2 champion last year, came in, had an injury, had a bunch of XC2 points, and after summer break said, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and jump up to XC1. Actually made it into the top 10 in points in XC1 as well. So he received an award for both XC1 and XC2. But because he actually raced 4 races in that XC1, he earned enough XC1 points. Again, I hope I'm explaining this correctly.
Right, well,
but you must be registered in the XC1 class to register XC1 points. But for the overall, does not matter what class you're registered in. It's just overall points.
Yep. And then if you're outside of, top 10, you basically draw spoons, poker chips.
Correct.
And then that decides where you're at. So that explains where Grant Davis is at. Adam, are we ready for that segment? I can throw that to it now if we've got time, or if you want to wait. Okay. Well, Ironman GNCC, been here since 1995, been coming here a long time, and a man who's been racing this one a long time, Stu Baylor, had some comments about the variations over the years racing here on the track.
So Ironman has historically been one of the best venues on the GNCC circuit. Usually the weather's really good. We have a lot going on in the parking lot. And it's really created more of an event than a race. And for me, obviously, everybody kind of knows how I am and how I engage with the crowd. So here, it's a lot of fans, and being one of the fan favorites is super cool to come to this event every year. And yeah, just the optical. I mean, the drone shots that you guys have, like it's unbelievable how large this race is, and to see what it's done since I've been racing here in 2003, 4, something like that. So. Every year coming back and watching it grow and seeing what it is today. But overall, as far as the racing goes, it's nothing, the track, nothing impressive, but the crowd and the turnout, the thousands of people that poured out to the Ironman Hill, the thousands of people around the start. We've probably given away 5 times more posters here than any event all year. So yeah, just the fans in general make this place come to life.
Love to hear it. So getting some insight from Stu, been racing here a long time, and just a great track, Johnny. And man, while we wait on those leaders, we'll show some more love. We're just talking about Corey Steed wrapping up that WXC title. Of course, a neck-to-neck battle with Rachel Archer coming into this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw her bike in the background there, Rachel Archer, that is under that Red Bear Rocky Mountain ATV MC Kawasaki tent. A 3-time champion coming in this weekend, holding a slight points lead over Corey Steed. 7 points was the difference. Corey Steed finishing in the #1 position today. Rachel Archer finishing 3rd. Brandy Richards 2nd. And that was the difference right there. It came down to Corey Steed winning her first ever WXC title. Rachel Archer, I believe, announced on the podium that she was retiring from GNCC racing and will be moving back to New Zealand. She came here as a young, unproven stateside rider.
Sure, very
obviously
good point.
had great potential and was very well established in her home country of New Zealand and even internationally, but coming here, making quite the name for herself, establishing herself as the premier women's off-road motorcycle rider in the world here in off-road competition, and with 3 titles. Even though she was not able to put the wraps on that one today, surely will put her name amongst the many riders. We were actually talking about this earlier today. It seems like 3 is the magic number for WXC titles. Maria Forsberg with 3, Casey Martinez with 3, Taylor Jones with 3, Becca Sheets with 3, and now Rachel Archer with 3. Corey Steed starting her own little run here, possibly with her first title, getting it done today. So it'll be interesting to watch that one in 2026. Will she be able to add to that tally?
Very, very cool. Women's racing in good hands, certainly. Becca Sheets wasn't here. We didn't have her on air today, but that was something as we watch our pros back into the woods here. We'll get back to that battle. But Becca, I always go back. It was like, I think 2017 or 18, and she was basically pleading on the podium for women to jump into the pro class. We're way past that now. It is definitely a move in the right direction.
Well, that WXC class was, the first year was 2016, and it was a big jump for some of those girls. Obviously, the top girls were already winning overalls. And look at this, Liam Draper now up to the rear of Jordan Ashburn on the number 3 machine. And Draper looking like he wants to try to make a move to wrestle away that second place position. But over the course of the next few seasons, we saw that front row just continue to grow and grow and bring talent up from the youth ranks. And folks, these aren't girls that just start racing as adults.
Very good point.
It's wild when you go to the Stasic races at the very smallest of, you can't even say displacement because they're on electric Stasic machines. But then when you get into our Pee Wee races, micro races and our youth races, so many young ladies out there doing bar-to-bar battle with the boys, and then coming up through the youth ranks into the amateur ranks, working their way up into that elite WXC class. They put on some crazy battles. We saw even more of it today with wheel-to-wheel battles between Archer and Corey Steed, Steed, Archer, and Brandy Richards, with, again, Corey Steed coming out on top. And as you pointed out, Mikey, future of women's racing in very good hands.
Absolutely. Wakowski, Ashburn, Draper, 1, 2, and 3 right there, almost wheel to wheel.
And there is Ben Kelly on the number 530 machine sitting in that 4th place spot. So again, folks, 7 points is the advantage for Grant Davis as they went to the starting line today. We'll see what position both Davis and Ben Kelly are in when they check in with 2 laps complete. Now, interesting to point out, we do have to talk about tiebreakers if it would come down to that. The overall championship deciding tiebreaker, if they tie on points, is most number of wins right now, with Grant Davis having 4 overall wins and Ben Kelly having only 2. Even if Ben Kelly is able to win here today, a tie does him no good. He needs to outright beat Grant Davis on points, meaning he needs to beat Grant Davis by at least 8 points here today to wrap up the title.
Into the pro pits we go, some hydration, and we're rolling.
No pit stops this time through for fuel, no goggles, just as you pointed out, some water bottles. And look at this, Liam Draper again back to the rear wheel of Jordan Ashburn, and Ben Kelly not far behind in that number 4 spot.
Ben getting the handoff right there as well, and we are back in through timing and scoring. I don't care what timing and scoring says. Those top 3, especially those top 2 right now, that's baby blanket stage right there. That is tight racing. Ben Kelly hard on the charge. How long does Ben Kelly, I feel like he's being patient back there. I mean, is this a lap, Johnny, where we look to see maybe Ben Kelly try to force it and make a move and put some separation in between him and Grant Davis, who we've not seen it a bit. We know he's having troubles last lap. We know that Grant is charging, though.
Yeah, Grant Davis sitting back there in about that number 7 or 8 spot physically on the racetrack. But once we factor in XC2, a little closer to the back of the top 10 or maybe even outside the top 10. So Ben Kelly sitting in that number 4 spot, knowing that he needs every position possible. They'll be updating him throughout the race, but if you're Ben Kelly, the only thing you can control is the position you finish in. So likely going to go out there and try to, look at this, Draper now makes the pass on Ashburn up into the number 2 spot. We've seen it for several corners now. He was inside, he was outside, and now makes it stick.
Love this section. This is like split lane. And I don't know that one is more advantageous than the other. It probably comes down to preference, I would imagine, or maybe one not getting as beat up as the other one. But there's no way of knowing that until the next time you enter.
Yeah, that one specifically really come to life today. It seemed like yesterday everybody was kind of favoring that left-hand line, whereas today really seeing a lot of variance in a couple different spots like that.
Well, and to your point, Mikey, as that left line kind of gets more and more run in, it's going to get more braking bumps, it's going to get more ruts, it's going to get more acceleration chop, and it may actually start to favor that outside line, which yesterday and throughout the day today has been the less than preferred line, but you pointed out they are very, very close. Josh Strang making some moves now and still ahead of Grant Davis, but Grant likely just kind of letting this one come to him after a, I don't know if we can say disastrous, but giving up quite a few points to Ben Kelly just 2 weeks ago at the John Penton. I think Grant Davis in a great position right now to kind of let himself calm down after that first lap mishap, starting his bike early. We saw him slide down on that hill climb, the weight of this championship very heavy. Ben Kelly has won this championship before. Grant Davis has not, but Grant Davis having the opportunity to get it done today, and right now very close to in position to do so. As we refresh our live timing and scoring with 2 laps complete now, it is still Cody Barnes, and this time the gap has gotten, as we look at a lapse time, he's really stretched that gap out from 0.8, I'm joking, from 0.8 seconds to 2.4 seconds.
Right.
So, you know, still about 1.6 seconds is what he was able to pull out on that lap. Cody Barnes leading the way in that overall and XC2 class. Mike Wakowski sitting in the number 2 spot overall. Jordan Ashburn sitting in 3rd. Draper, Reardon, Ben Kelly sitting 6th in the overall. So that would be 15 points. We have to come down to the 13th place spot. Grant Davis would be getting for that 8 points. So that would be an advantage of 8 points, meaning as they run right now, if they would finish this way, Ben Kelly would be your overall champion by exactly 1 point. That is how just absolutely close this championship battle is, and how much each single pass on the racetrack means to both of these riders.
I think when you try to talk to somebody that is unfamiliar with GNCC and they're like, what's the craziest thing about it? Like, you kind of told me what they do, but what's the wildest thing? It's when I tell them that, you know, after 3 hours of battle, it comes down to less than a wheel length. After a year of battle, it's coming down to 1 point, 1 pass, what could I have done throughout the season? And it just shows how close, razor's edge, this top 1% of our XC1 and XC2 classes are, and how much the game has changed over the last 50 years.
There we see Draper in 2nd, Ashburn in 3rd. Next up should be Ben Kelly in the number 4 spot here at mile marker number 2. Got some young fans out there cheering him on. A little further.
Pointing lines, I love it.
Yeah, man, the GNCC mud fleas, get out there. If it's not muddy, it doesn't mean you're still not a mud flea.
That's right.
What do we call them here? Dirt fleas?
Yeah, that works.
Cornfield fleas? Draper really starting to look like he is finding a flow as he starts to stretch away a little bit from Jordan Ashburn, making the pass just about a mile and a half ago. Now starting to try and chip away at the gap that our leader, Mike Wakowski, has built up. But Ashburn answering back, trying to latch back onto the rear wheel of Draper.
This is one of the sections that we've seen more than a few times Ashburn really excel at, these open sections, sweeping around these corners. Yo-yoing back to the rear wheel of the Ampro Yamaha. Dive back in. We talked about the soil kind of holding moisture, and certainly could be worse than this, but it does seem like things have gotten pretty baked out in these open field sections.
Yeah, no doubt. When making our way back from Ironman Hill there, really got to see a first-hand view of it, especially the shots that we're seeing right here. That's where some dust is really starting to boil, especially when the big pack of amateur riders are coming through there. Luckily for Mike Wakowski, I believe, who we're seeing on screen right now, not too much dust floating in the air for him.
Well, and the other big thing about these open sections, when they get kind of baked out by the sun like we talked, is those square edge bumps. They kind of pop up out of nowhere, and they can be hidden by these layers of dust, but if they kick you, it catches you by surprise, it can be disastrous. Absolutely ruin your race. So these riders really got to be picking and choosing their lines, and you see in some of those acceleration areas and where they're hard on the braking bumps, maybe just a bit more aggressive due to that square edgeness.
Yeah, we were talking about during our true amateur races earlier today just how untypical some of these bumps are. They're not quite normal acceleration and braking bumps. Traffic bumps, what we were calling them.
Yep. Back at Ironman Hill, or the base of Ironman Hill. I believe they're calling that rock the diving board. They call that to jump off.
That works.
Yeah.
It is a diving board.
Not very springy, if you ask me, but
it's definitely a dive.
And we did see one of our XT1 riders yesterday, Stephen Harrell, kind of getting a little funny kick coming down there into Ironman Hill, tumbling his way down into the creek and really causing himself some damage to that machine, trying to make some repairs. Look at this, Mike Wakowski on the rear wheel, bouncing up off the ledge and straight up Ironman Hill with the lead.
Textbook Ironman Hill right there. Is here comes Liam Draper. Looks like that's Ashburn right behind Ben Kelly.
There goes Gerard making his way up. As you could hear there, Mixmaster Murphy down at Ironman Hill. Place to be right now as Grant Baylor makes his way up through Grant Baylor going up at Tough Line. You can see how much air he's catching there. Just a little bit steeper, not quite as worn in, and Russell looking to take the exact same line, making easy work of it.
Yeah, we talked about that far line. It's got a little bit of a lip built up just past halfway, and so riders charging and literally jumping their way up the hillside.
Yeah, right here, the line that you're seeing up the middle, they're jumping, landing, Zach, and then jumping again back up into a sea of people.
Well, and what you can't quite tell on this camera shot is the kicker just past where they go out of sight, and saw more than a couple riders feet up in the air, full flying W, as they were just trying to keep it on two wheels. But challenges, like we talked about, changing lap after lap with these conditions and this amount of riders as well.
The 514 of Baylor, Stu Baylor making his way up now. Yeah, kind of almost like a step-on, step-off Supercross style jump going up through there. It's wild, but Mike Wakowski
on the side of a hill.
Yeah, exactly. Mike Wakowski making his way through and whooping his way through this FMF PowerPoint. Man, that's getting chopped up right there as well, and that dust's really starting to settle, like you were talking about, Zach.
And that's what we talked about, just kind of that low-laying dust. It seems like in this area of the woods, at least, not a ton of breeze blowing that dust out of the way, so it kind of hides what's underneath, whether or not it's that hole that you think may be there or not, and you can't really expect anything to be just like you saw a lap ago. But Johnny Girard looking pretty racy right now as well. Good to have him back with us here at GNCC. Pretty cool. I was watching the broadcast from our last round that he kind of sacrificed his race to look out for Grant Davis.
Yeah, really, really good of him.
Yep.
So watching here from the mile 4. And there he is, Draper.
Yeah, things really kind of yo-yoing back and forth with Wakowski and Draper. It seemed like Draper was reeling him back in. Now things kind of going back the other way. Curious how hard both of these guys are pushing. Seems like they're relatively comfortable with the pace.
And Johnny Girard sitting in that number 5 spot physically on the racetrack, are wearing that number 1 plate, our defending series champion. Some injuries and some lingering effects from those injuries, including some concussion issues. Look at this now, Grant Davis starting to stir. He is all the way up to the rear wheel of Caleb Russell. He's gotten around Josh Strang. He's gotten around Evan Smith. Riders that were ahead of him just a little bit ago. There's Ricky Russell. There is our overall leader, Cody Barnes, and then Gus Reardon now has gotten around our second place rider of Jack Walker. We see that he's checked in the number 5 spot overall. Brody Johnson now up to the number 3 spot in that XC2 class, gotten around Jack Walker as well, sitting in that number 7th place spot overall.
Cody Barnes continuing to creep forward. Got a nice couple groups, or a nice couple XC1 riders to pace off of, see if he can pick his way through and maintain this lead. Didn't grow it by a ton, but did grow it. So going to take that momentum, try to keep things headed that direction late into this. Jack Walker going to try to fight back onto a podium spot in that XC2 class.
Speaking about some of our other riders, there is Jack Walker sitting in 4th place spot in that XC2 class. But looking down there in the tail end of our top 20 overall, Lane Whitmer taking over the lead in that 258 class, taking it away from Cooper Jones. As we look, those guys separated by 2.4 seconds. So that is a battle on track we will try to keep an eye on. That is a battle for top overall amateur and the win in that 258 class. Gavin Simon, also out of the 258 class, only 11 seconds behind Jones in the number 3 spot.
So there it is. Top amateur sitting 18th, 19th, and 20th right now on the overall charts, as you see on the left side of your screen. And what a day it would be if Barnes somehow, some way could pull this off and pull off an overall win here. And I'm sure Grant Davis get a little taste of his own medicine there with the XC2 rider there with Barnes. Mike Wakowski back on screen now, everybody. Making his way under the bridge. And a good ride for the number 8, looking cool, calm, and collected.
Leading the way, looking for his first ever overall podium. He has been on the XC1 podium a number of times here in 2025, but has never actually been on the overall podium. Was always edged out by either Grant Davis or one of the other XC2 riders once we do the time correction. So you know that would be a very special day for him here today. Not only if he could be on the podium, but the best place to be is right in the center there, boys.
No doubt about it. And if things go the way history has shown them to, normally the XC2 class start washing away a little bit as we get deeper and deeper into the race That has not been the case here in 2025, but nonetheless, that's how things normally go. So we'll see if Barnes is able to hang on for a few more laps. Only an hour and 6 minutes into this approximately 3-hour-long race.
There is your overall leader, the number 99 of Cody Barnes, 990 on the helmet tag. As we pointed out, has gotten around Evan Smith, has gotten around. But I'll tell you what, Gus Reardon really starting to show some pace back there. He's continuing to close things up on the XC2 and overall leader, Cody Barnes, and he's bringing Brody Johnson with him. That 235 machine is absolutely just continuing to gain momentum throughout this 2025 season, has been on the podium in that XC2 class, and potentially in a position sitting in that number 7 spot, but looking at the elapsed time, very much in the mix, only about 15 seconds off of an overall podium with 2 laps complete. So if Brody Johnson can dig deep, he could add his name to the list of XC2 riders who've been on an overall podium here in 2025.
We'll see if he's able to do it. Man, this is shaping up to be a good one here at the Yamaha Racing Ironman for 2025. It's always a good one here at Ironman, a fan favorite.
We've talked a little bit about silly season in the last couple of races. We know a lot of these riders do have team changes. We'll see them on different bikes next year, riding for different teams. A lot of shakeups, maybe more than I've seen in quite some time coming into 2026. If you believe the rumor mill, some of these riders more open and talking about it, some keeping it close to the vest, wanting to keep their loyalty, wanting to keep the kind of exposure for the team they're currently riding for, but already having signed new contracts to take them into the 2026 season. But a lot of these riders do not have any type of decision made as to what exactly they're going to be doing.
Spill the beans, Johnny.
That's what I was going to say. I thought Johnny's being pretty tight-lipped right here.
Hey, I believe, as Mikey said it best, it's not my story to tell.
Yeah.
We'll let them show up at either make their Instagram posts on Monday or whenever their current contract expires. Keep in mind, folks, a lot of these contracts do run through either the end of October, which is still about a week away, or in some cases even the end of the year. And there is disclosure and verbiage in there that says, any changes for the following year, please wait until this contract has expired until you make those announcements. Going back to, last year, for instance, Caleb Russell, under contract with the KTM group as the facility trainer, couldn't really speak about any plans that he may or may not have had. We had to wait until, I believe it was December 1st, he made that announcement last year that he was coming back racing and on that Ampro factory Yamaha. So it isn't, you could say it's, it's red tape, but understandably so. These teams, these OEMs have a lot of money and effort wrapped up in trying to win these races and get exposure for their brand. So right now these guys doing what they need to do and representing the colors. Dance with the one that brung you, as they say. Yep. And so out here today, we will see some changes for next year. We'll let these riders make the announcements as their contracts and their programs see fit.
So by about the first week of January, we should be seeing announcements about it.
And sooner than that in many cases.
Yeah, probably maybe tonight for some of these guys. Who knows?
Yeah, and we do know a few of the things that we know for sure is, a lot of these riders have re-signed with their current teams. It's not like it's going to be a complete shakeup, but some of our top name riders in both the XC1 and XC2 classes do have some changes for next year. So it'll be interesting. It's that silly season. It's the off-season rumor mill, and it's exciting that there's that much interest in GNCC, that so many OEMs. You just take a walk through our pro road here, and it's nearly every manufacturer represented with some type of a factory effort. Even this weekend, we had Ducati here, who has yet to release their 450 Desmo for off-road, but we are being told the fact that they have a display here. Triumph has Ricky Russell out on course, but they also, just a few rounds ago in West Virginia, had a full semi here with showing their whole lineup of machines and indicating that maybe we'll see a little bigger effort from them moving forward in GNCC. Looking forward to it. And Johnny, you said shouldn't be a complete shakeup. We don't know that. It might be a complete shakeup. So you guys are going to have to stay tuned to social media to see what all happens. There's enough changes that I think a lot of people are going to not see coming. But then again, there's going to be some that you expect to be staying with the same team that are doing just exactly that. Including myself. I'm sure you guys listening know just as much as I do. So it's going to be fun to see what all happens.
Just teasing us at this point.
I don't know anything. Johnny doesn't even ask. He just knows in the back of his head what's going to happen. That's not true. All right, your leader out front of that XC1 class and sitting in the number 2 spot. And speaking of teams, right now the Phoenix Racing Honda team occupying the number 1 and 2 spots in the overall, with their XC2 rider Cody Barnes leading the way and their XC1 rider leading the way in XC1, and second place overall Mike Wakowski. So a banner day here for the Phoenix Racing Honda team. This we've seen them running like this throughout races, but if they can finish here, it would be an absolute record-setting day for that Phoenix Racing Honda team.
Yeah, not only a record-setting weekend for Phoenix as well, so super cool to see. Mike Wakowski, man, he's been, like you said, Johnny, he's been looking for it all season. He's been right there. I think back to Talladega, he was right there then, and just not quite able to be there at the finish. It's not even that he's not able to be there at the finish. It's these pesky XC2 riders shaking everything up. And speaking of one of them, there's Grant Davis making his way through now. Of course, starting in that XC1 row today and costing him some time, so almost better off just starting from XC2 at the grand scheme of things. He is still on a 250 though, correct?
That is correct, yes. He did tell us yesterday, we asked him, we needed some information so we could film some show openers. We had to check in with him and see what's the plan. He said XC2, he and the team had talked about riding a 350. He's been riding it quite a bit, but I think the ultimate decision was, again, just the level of comfortability he has with that 250cc machine. So let's not change anything up. Let's try to put the final touches on this 2025 season and try at least to wrap up that overall title.
Yeah, not only did, I believe our Racer TV crew got to talk to him as well. Let's see what he had to say.
Absolutely, my mindset's the same as it's been all year, just giving my all, and got to be a dog out there. Got to be tough and strong and just do everything I can to get this done. I'll be XC1 on a 250. But I was going to race the 350, but I haven't had much time on it, so I'm going to decide to race a 250. Wow. Yeah, absolutely. I think just being on one for, I've been on a KTM 250 for this is my 3rd year. So I think it's just, I'm comfortable on it right now, and I've been riding a 350 for the whole time I've been on a 250, but still I just haven't done any testing on it yet much or anything. I know I'm faster on it, but I haven't done much of a, longer moto on it, let's say. I've done hour motos or whatever, but I haven't done a local race or anything to kind of see how I feel on it. But I'm definitely going to do a lot this winter and this off season to get ready for next year.
So there it is. We got to hear it straight from him. Yeah, a strange start to the day. I was hearing down on the line that possibly, going to have a hold on Grant. That's exactly what happened there. So,
yeah, that's you were telling Johnny on that point. I could hear a bike fire up on the pro row line, but from where I stand, there's no way I could tell who the heck it was, and didn't want to speculate. But yeah.
Yeah, hearing that it was just a possible bump from what I heard on the starting line there. Not a whole lot, but enough that the officials need to hold him back for just a minute.
Well, and you hate to speculate, but those are the little things where we talk about the pressure, the small little tiny miscalculations, where something like that, we've seen Grant Davis be perfect all season long, essentially, and some silly little mistake like that shows, hey, he's probably feeling the weight of the day.
Yeah, and you guys had made your way to Ironman Hill. He had a little slide out. Just a very uncharacteristic mistake by Grant Davis, but we, like you said, we've watched him do amazing things all year. I'm sure he said to himself, maybe even got the pit board, take a breath. You're okay. You're fine. You're in good shape. Just keep charging. You got plenty of time.
Well, and if you go back to earlier in the season as well, when Grant really started threatening the overall championship, we talked. I don't want to say doubted, but kind of said, the thing about Grant is he almost over-tries sometimes. He overrides the machine and winds up making a mistake and putting himself on the ground. Now, what we think he has cleaned up on that aspect with the pressure of the situation, having to perform, and now having his back against the wall with the penalty. That's my concern, is can Grant stay calm? Yeah. Like you said, team tone him, take a breath, regroup, and just try to do what he's been doing, because the pace has been enough all season long. He just needs to keep it within a couple of points to bring this thing home.
It's kind of interesting. When we were doing that pre-race report, I spoke with Tina. There goes Ben Kelly, still charging. I spoke with Tina, Caleb Russell's mom, and she was talking a little bit about Grant Davis and Caleb getting the win a couple of weeks ago at the Petton. And she said someone had told her, and she told me who, and I can't remember who, or I'd give him credit. Gerard, man, looking real good today. Good to see him doing well. But she said the difference between Caleb Russell and Grant Davis is if they were both in the back of a pickup truck, Grant would jump out of the back and Caleb would step out of the back. And as a 40-year-old man, I'm like, that makes perfect sense. So yeah, Grant is full throttle all the time, 100 miles an hour. But man, this has been a day. Ricky Russell buzzing by. And I think there goes Strang, and Strang's got company in tow. But we're going to take a commercial break right here. Ironman, GNCC, 50 years of racing. GNCC, the culmination of this coming to fruition right here. A championship is on the line, and right now Ben Kelly sits in the driver's seat for that. But, man, Cody Barnes having a day from row 2 on adjusted time, leading this thing. A penalty. A little mistake by Grant Davis, the Playboy. Can he get back in the fight? Wakowski, Ashburn, everybody in the mix. We'll be right back with more right after a word from our sponsors.
Whatever you drive, however you drive. AMSOIL specially engineers lubricants to maximize power, performance, and protection in your vehicles, so you can work hard and play hard with confidence. Order online at amsoil.com.
Unleash aggression, reliability, and premium quality with Kenda tires, delivering exceptional performance on all types of vehicles: automotive, ATVs, UTVs, motorcycles, bicycles, trailers, lawn and garden, and even golf. Trust Kenda tires to guide you on your next adventure. Kenda, designed for your journey.
Born of family values and a homegrown work ethic, Cometic Gasket seals your machine so you can focus on the finish line. Cometic Gaskets are the competitive standard for racers who demand the very best inside their engine. Cometic Gaskets are always constructed from superior materials designed to perform in the most demanding environments. Whether it's a championship on the line or a day in the dirt with friends, professionals and enthusiasts alike depend on Cometic. Cometic Gasket, sealing championships since 1989.
Progressive GNCC Racing is brought to you by Progressive. Progressive could save you hundreds of dollars on your automobile and motorcycle insurance. Specialized E-Turbo bicycles. It's you, only faster. Rocky Mountain ATVMC.com. Get ready.
About for good reason. He said he's getting some notifications on his phone that we got some escalated, I don't know that we could call it high winds, but some escalated winds that are going to be moving into the area. So, that threw me. So if you are here on property, we encourage you, if you're at all able, batten down the hatches, maybe bring those pop-ups in, and if you are out and about in the woods, be very cognizant of your surroundings. Look out for each other. Look out for yourselves. We don't want any trees going down, etc.
All right, taking a look at your, I believe that's your leaders on screen. Yep, there it is, Mike Wakowski, your Yamaha Racing live drone, taking a brief trip through the Motocross of Nations motocross track just a few quick weeks ago. Crazy how different things look here on property as we head back into the pits. And there it is, Wakowski into that Phoenix Racing Honda tent. Getting some fuel, some words of encouragement, going to grab some nutrition and try to get back after. There it is, a quick in and out for Wakowski. There is the 198 of Liam Draper now pulling into his pit. So he's going to watch Wakowski go by. He maintains the lead As we hover over Liam Draper, just at the top of the screen, you see Mike Wakowski headed into timing and scoring.
And there it is, a good pit stop for Draper, in and out. And he's going to set back sail. As we see now, Ben Kelly making his way through.
And guys looking like they're preparing maybe for
Girard, maybe?
Yeah, I bet you're right. Probably is Girard. Girard a little. Yep, and there he is. Sorry, Johnny Girard, man. Shame on me. He's having a day. And what a way. Like, you can't be happier for a guy like Johnny Girard. Obviously, pretty serious injury earlier in the season. That kind of told the story of the rest of the year for him. We just kind of waited and waited. He was able to do the ISDE, injuring, I believe, his hand, right? Yep. And then unable to race after that, and now having some success here today.
Well, it's just like you see a guy that does things for the right reasons and treats people the right way, and it's just one thing after another, and you kind of can't help but be like, God, they need a break. Yeah. So hopefully that time is over for Johnny, and he's on the mend. He's only going to get stronger from here, and he's already talked about kind of just getting Reeves zoned back in to get focused for 2026.
Looking forward to it. Give you guys an update. XC1 in control. First time. This might be the first time all season we've seen the XC1 hold the top 7 spots. Barnes now back in the 8th in the OA. Gus Reardon 9th OA. And no, scratch that. There it updates. Well, does it? Okay, it does. We must have had a little scoring issue there because I could have swore he had checked in with 3 laps completed. So scratch, forget what I said. And your ticker on the side of Racer TV is correct as well. So Wakowski, Barnes, Draper, Gus Reardon, and Brody Johnson, your top 5. So never mind, just kidding. XC2 still well represented in the top 5.
Phoenix Racing Honda holds on to the 1-2, but now it's XC1 leading the way. So Wakowski out front over Cody Barnes. There is Johnny Girard making his way through. Water bottle swinging under that helmet.
Yeah, Mr. Eller in-house with us here this weekend for the Phoenix Racing Honda team. So the boys putting on a show in front of the boss.
A couple more making their way through. I believe that might have been Barnes, Strang, Reardon, and already starting to work into some lap traffic as well. Johnson.
Did we get Caleb Russell through there yet? Well, I guess no.
We had a couple riders pass by us, so not sure whether or not that was one of them.
Hey, there he is. No, that's Evan Smith.
Yep. So maybe different line. Maybe may have missed him. Run, ladies, run. She ain't running, she's walking.
Having 2 big AM races here this morning. One of which, the first one, our 8 a.m., having our mechanics race. So if you see any mechanics out there having a hard time picking up the gas jug,
good point.
Might be a little bit sore after that one. Jason Potter there with Husqvarna taking the big win. So shout out to him. Nice. Saw him out there gassing up the KTM crew as we flash back to the top spot with Mike Wakowski. Man, he's getting with it. He knows that Draper is right there getting with it as well. And they find the smooth line through the field.
Yeah, Andy Gray throwing on the biofreeze after a long moto before he goes to work for real.
Yeah, a ton of them. I believe like 20 or so mechanics out there. So good to see them. And then our industry as well.
The industry, industry class. I was going to say, I joked a little bit with the mechanics of like, if something happens to the bike, who are they going to yell at? They can't run back to the pits and blame it on somebody else.
They should have made their riders feel above.
Yes. Yeah, let's reverse roles a little bit. Maybe some of them did. I wasn't around the pits to see it. Mike Wakowski having an absolute day. The number 8 out in front. And man, we've seen him do this a lot as far as being up front, battling for podiums as he works around the lap traffic, threading the needle. But it's been about the 3 hours, putting together a good 3 hours of riding like this for Wakowski. So maybe today is the day. We're approaching that halfway mark here for this Ironman GNCC, and Wakowski still in control.
Mikey, double-check it for me. I just saw timing and scoring refresh. Grant Davis now shown in the 20th OA spot and still waiting, I believe.
Oh, yeah. No, it just refreshed.
And at least according to our scoring monitor, our scoring computer, Grant Davis has not checked in for, oh no, and look at this. This is the KTM pits. This is the day. This is the season for Grant Davis, and you just can't help but be gutted right now for the 922 of Grant Davis. His face and his palm, Dr. Tanner down there, so you've got to think as his mechanic, Andy Gray, mom is there beside him as well. I believe his sister. And Grant just, man, that sucks. I mean, that is just no other way to put it. Young man poured his heart and soul into this season. He had enormous goals set out for himself, and Jackson Burrell still in the booth. Zach Herring going to go try to get a word in with Grant. Obviously, we're not trying to stick a mic in his face because we want to rub it in his face. You know, it's all business, but want to find out what happened there at the KTM pits.
Yeah, and give him a chance to tell his story as well.
And you can't help but wonder, we talked about it in the broadcast, pre-broadcast, and I'm sure we did after the start as well as we watch our leaders on screen. But
and Ben Kelly about in the same boat.
But again, Grant Davis, he passed the concussion test and was cleared to race today. But you kind of left with wondering. Passing the test and being 100% are two different things. He's a young man. You recover quickly when you're young, but you wonder if that maybe weighed on him a little bit today and affected his riding. Yeah. And it's not something you want to mess around with. I mean, He's a young man, a very young career, very promising career. So a lot of question marks right now.
And that's why that test is in place, to make sure that they are good to do it. That way no real injuries occur from it. But something's definitely happened out there, Mike. You can see in that camera shot that his pants were ripped from about the knee up. So something has definitely happened. Seeing Draper on screen making his way up Ironman Hill, still running in that second place spot to Mike Wakowski. Now the question on my mind is, are we going to tell Ben Kelly, and if you're Ben Kelly, what do you do in this situation? He's won the XC1 class already. Do you back it off, try to pull it on in, or do you keep racing for one of the top spots here at Ironman?
What's interesting is Ben Kelly, a former XC1 overall champion himself. He's a former XC2 champion. As we see Ben roll up the hill right there, no problems for him. And it came down the year that he won the title. It was between him and Stu Baylor, and it came down to the Ironman GNCC, and almost a similar situation where we see Johnny Gerard right there, where Stu just did not have a good day. And at that time it was Ben just kind of sending it and making sure he rode smart. I got to think that's a strategy if you're Ben Kelly at this point. This is not, if Ben, you were to ask him, he's certainly not going to be happy that the guy he's competing against and teammate is out. It's not necessarily what you want to see. You want to be able to go toe-to-toe with the guy.
Yeah, Ben Kelly, a stand-up rider, stand-up competitor. He's definitely not going to want to win it that way. Man, that's absolutely heartbreaking for Grant Davis, and I know a lot of the fans watching and the GNCC community. We didn't want to see this one end like that.
Yeah, and it's you go back to one of those things. I am the furthest thing from a yeah but guy, and I don't mean that as a yeah buts. I mean when someone to me says they won the championship, yeah, but no. I've never agreed with those kind of statements. Because the bottom line is GNCC racing is tough. I always think to myself when you hear Griff Cotter in that riders meeting, GNCC, like all motorsports, is dangerous. Part of what it takes to win a championship is being able to last, physically last yourself, for the bike to last. And if you're a guy like Ben Kelly who, not in the books yet, he's got to finish this race. He's got to get the points he needs. But he earned it. He earned it. He cannot control what anyone else around him on another machine is doing. So when I look at things like that, I just can't stand hearing the yeah buts. So I'm gonna squash that right now. That's just my opinion on it, I guess. But yeah, Ben is a stand-up guy. He didn't want this to happen to Grant. We certainly didn't as spectators and fans either.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. Well, Ben Kelly definitely going to be the one in the driver's seat now as far as the championship goes. For the overall championship, XC1, XC2 already being decided, of course, there at the John Penn And Ben Kelly, the XC1 champ. Grant Davis still going to be the XC2 champ. And Mikey, these are the kind of lessons that you learn as a young racer. Have to assume that it played into the part of the pressure and how hard that Grant Davis is willing to push himself, push the machine. And I'm sure that took a little bit of, had a little bit to do with what happened here today, just how hard he's willing to go.
So hopefully we'll get an update on Grant here, at least get a word in.
And we're talking about this with, like I just said, he's already won the XC2 championship.
Right. Yeah.
This is for a storybook, changing history. And
more bad news. Stu Baylor calls it a day. He sits beside the 514 machine. So Zach Herron, when you wrap up at KTM, maybe we can get a word in with Stu Baylor as well. And this is, I mean, it's crazy. You know, we've had, I remember Ironman, Johnny Gallagher would know the year, the guy's an encyclopedia, but it was a duster. And it was a duster to the point that we were changing air filters and it just started claiming bikes. And this year, I mean, two enormous names, both out of the XC1 with Grant moving up, out at the halfway point of this race. So this Ironman Raceway claiming them. Hopefully Stu okay.
Yeah, Stu looked to physically be okay. We'll have to wait and see, though. Make sure. Stu definitely got to be one of the toughest people you'll ever meet, so it would be hard to tell. And I'm trying to think back, Mikey, if it was the Hoosier or if it was back at Ironman in 2024, having some bad luck there for Baylor, and Baylor actually coming and announcing about half the race was.
Yeah.
So this is the first time this Ironman Raceway has claimed him.
Well, in the meantime, the former Indiana native, Mike Wakowski, leading the way. I call him adopted Hoosier. Cody Barnes actually from the state of Illinois, but this is as far west as we get. Sitting in the 2 spot on adjusted time. Liam Draper having a day. Gus Reardon sitting 4th. Brody Johnson 5th. Ashburn outside of that 6th. Kelly, Gerard, Grant Baylor, and Caleb Russell rounding out the top 10. Liam Draper got some family. His mom's here to watch him race this weekend. That is just huge for Liam to have mom out here visiting from New Zealand, making the trip, for those that may not know. So very, very cool opportunity here for Liam Draper. If nothing else, putting it on the box while mom's here in the States watching him in person.
Yeah, it's super cool for him. You mentioned Barnes, Reardon, and Johnson, your top 3 in the XC2. We got Walker and DeFeo, your top 5. Seeing the rest of our XC1 guys making their way around. There's Caleb Russell. He had closed up the gap just a little bit, but it seems that Baylor has been able to pull back away.
Well, we watch the rest of those guys roll through. Want to show some love to those top amateurs. Lane Whitmer sitting 16th in the OA, be your top am. Van Adams, Indiana native, and Gavin Simon sitting 19th overall. I want to give a quick shout out to Van Adams since we're in Indiana. He's an Indiana kid, and I was doing a local series. I'm trying to think, maybe 2013. And Van Adams was riding maybe Mike, maybe P-Dubs back then, maybe 65s. And somewhere at home, I have a Van Adams autograph, and you can barely make it out. That's how young he was. So shout out to Van. I still got it, buddy. I promise.
Coming out of nowhere here in this one. Up to 17th on the overall. He must be fired up in the home state.
Dude knows some Indiana soil, apparently. He showed some signs. I'd love to see what Van is able to do, maybe on the national level the next few years.
A good start right here. Waiting at the mile 5 marker. This is where we saw some of our ATV riders having a very tough time yesterday. Not going to have that same issue here on the bike side of things. The main problem was the ATVs couldn't get around each other. The bikes aren't going to have any troubles like that. Popping back up to Mike Wakowski, trying to find the smooth way through the cornfields, through the soybean fields here of lately. Try not to plant corn in these fields, as the stalks cause a lot of problems when we come racing. But we can only plant soybeans for so long until we got to go back to corn.
Look at it, you're learning about Midwestern agriculture here, Jackson. I love that. It's so funny because every time we come here for the Hoosier, Jared Bolton and I are always like, oh, sweet, it was a bean year. We're good.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of the racers keeping up with it as well. It really changes things when you got all those corn stalks out there.
You're not wrong.
Especially here at Ironman, a lot of the trail going to be through the fields, as you see an amazing shot of it right here from the Yamaha Racing Live drone. Our drone pilot, Gabe Scholl, doing a great job here today. Man, look at that.
That was a
launching.
And doing a great job getting on the outside of those berms, kicking up some dust, the wind, just enough wind to pick it up and kind of carry it away until right there. But, man, absolutely on the move as Zach Herron joining us back in the booth. He has been out and about but wasn't able to get a word directly.
Well,
anything off record maybe?
Yeah, so I was able to catch up with Grant Davis. Said first thing, are you okay?
Yeah.
He said yes, all in all, I'm okay. Obviously very deflated, very defeated. Having some issues still with the head from that last injury. And it's got to be, it can't be something we're surprised about. These guys, when we talk about how much they push their bodies, 99, 100+% of their entire, their max heart rate, that level of pushing your body to the limit, you've got to be completely at 100%. And I think, like I heard you say, passing the concussion protocol and being at 100% isn't the same. He had to line up. He had to give it a shot. I'm not sure if there was an additional crash that maybe led to it. But, yeah, unfortunately, Grant Davis out of this thing. I believe frustrated with the penalty as well. Feeling like, maybe there was, just feeling frustrated with the penalty. But overall, kind of like I told him, I think a lot's been proven already. The skill was there and already looking forward to next year. So not the way we wanted that battle and that championship battle to end, but unfortunately what we're going to get here in 25.
Yeah, and I have to imagine getting held up there kind of put him in a flight or fight, added a little bit of intensity to it, probably have added on to this a lot. And one thing I think worth mentioning is we don't see Craig DeLong out here today. And looking back to the John Penton, I was able to talk to some of the Husqvarna crew, and they were saying, yeah, he had a terrible headache at the last race, and I'm not sure exactly what's going on with him here today. Possibly something to do with that.
It's absolutely nothing to mess with as we continue to watch Mike Wakowski just put in work. We can't take anything away from Mike today. It's interesting. They initiated that concussion protocol, and I think the situation with Johnny Gerard kind of spurred a lot of that on. And, there was some social media chatter that I just found, quite frankly, hilarious, that people thought it was silly. And we look at the end of this season and, you look at the situation with Grant Davis. That's why we have those things in place, and it's the safety of our riders is the absolute priority. What we do is already dangerous enough, so we've got to have things like that in place to take care of these guys. And I got to say, kudos to Grant. I mean, silver lining. You don't want to see him leave the race like that and leave that overall championship to Ben Kelly, as we see right there. But very young man, a lot of career in front of him, and who knows what could happen if you're out there racing and you're not in your right mind. You can make a very, very life-changing mistake, and he's not going to have that today. He's going to be able to come back and fight.
Yeah, I spoke with Grant's dad right there as well. Obviously, the whole family around supporting him, and I said, ultimately, I think that was a smart decision. He's got way too much in front of him, and that's what his dad said. We've proven what we need to prove this year. We've shown what we were capable of no matter what the end results show, and now we're focused on doing damage next year.
Yeah, he's one bad dude. Nobody can take that away from him. I have to, if I say it myself, I think on any given day he's the fastest person in GNCC racing.
Gnarly dude. So we'll see. He's certainly going to be a determined rider in the pro class moving into 26. Right now, all about Mike Wakowski out in front. Barnes in that number 2 spot on the adjusted time, going wide. Really carrying the momentum through these open, field sections and back into the woods.
And boys, it's not over for this XC2 class with Cody Barnes right there, reared in that 4th place overall spot, 2nd in class, and Johnson. We could still see a battle for that 2nd place in the XC2 class, 3rd place on the overall charts here for 2025.
Beautiful shot of our field section here. The final race of year number 50. It's crazy. We talked about kind of the year in review, talked about some spots throughout the season that have poked out to us. Crazy to think this was the first year ever we went to Talladega. All kinds of exciting news with that announcement, and hopefully we'll be having more exciting news coming as well as we wait for the schedule for next year to come out. But right now everybody's celebrating a big year, and that's another thing that I think kind of embodies the spirit of Ironman is you've got the riders, they've got to finish a job, but the teams, the families, there's so much to celebrate. This is the entire livelihood of these families, and after a long year of crisscrossing around the country, the mud, the dust, the struggles these guys go through.
Tears.
Yes, it is definitely worth celebrating here in Ironman.
So we are 3 laps into it. We're an hour and 42 minutes into this, and we are over the halfway point for the last race of the season. Ben Kelly not guaranteed yet, knock on wood, no announcer curse here, but Ben Kelly in position to capture what would be his second overall title of his career. And we got to start talking about the comeback of Ben Kelly in a nasty leg injury that just did not seem like it was ever going to be able to allow Ben Kelly to come back to championship form. And he's showed that this season in a possibility to reclaim that #1 plate for himself here today.
Yeah, he's put himself in an amazing spot to do just that. But like you said, Mikey, that brings up a good point. He has to make it to that checkered flag, or this will shake things up severely. They're sitting with of course, Grant Davis, 247 points coming in today, 240 for Ben Kelly, and then Cody Barnes going to have 182, so going to be a big gap back from our second to our third place there. And with Cody Barnes and Angus Reardon, that battle that we were talking about for third on the overall charts, second there for the XC2 class, only 1 point separating them, 182 for Cody Barnes, 181 for Angus Reardon. So that's some easy math right there, folks. 1 point, it's a winner-take-all scenario. Right now, Cody Barnes has put himself in the top spot.
CB, Cody Barnes, kind of feels like, you know, I talked to him a little bit off air after the Penton, and you know, he was elated with the finish and how it ended up. But, man, the fact that it was just mere seconds away from an overall over a guy named Caleb Russell was just kind of eluded him just a little bit. And he is coming out here swinging this weekend and maybe wants a taste of the overall. Jordan Ashburn buzzing through right there. Ashburn sitting 6th in the overall class.
There he is, the man with the plan, Ben Kelly, making his way through. A 2-2 in tow, as well as Johnny Gerard as he makes his way through. And Gerard going to have some company with Grant Baylor. There goes Russell making his way through. There's Cody Barnes just behind of Ricky Russell. So both the Russells back-to-back with Ricky sitting behind of Caleb. So continuing to watch. There goes Josh Drang now making his way through on the 7 Beta machine. There goes Reardon. And now seeing Johnson. The 2 XC2 boys that are trying to chase down Cody Barnes, your XC2 class leader.
So we got our leaders there through the mile marker number 10. Last night we had a little party, man. We had a double header this weekend at Stasic. And we had the costume contest. That is Sasquatch. That's Nana. That's Stephen Squire's daughter, by the way. Baby Ronnie Mack. We had princesses. We had Ninja Turtles. We had gnomes, like garden gnomes. There were kids on dinosaurs. More princesses. Carrie Jo was Queen Bee. We had miniature Ricky Towries. This chick terrified me. There's the cast of Shrek. There's another Nana. And another Ricky Towery. These people brought their dogs. That sumo wrestler, that's me from 3 years ago. And here's the Stasic race. Dude, the main event of the weekend if you're under the age of 4. And shout out to Griff Cotter, man. You absolutely bring it to these Stasic races. And Griff making sure that the kids had the lights. They got kind of the Supercross treatment last night. Was one of a kind.
No doubt, a doubleheader weekend for our Stasic racers, and that Halloween costume contest, that was just the tip of the iceberg. This was the main event for them, like you said, Mikey. This is what it all came down to, racing under the lights with Ricky Towery waving the checkered flag. It doesn't get much better than that.
Yeah, that's as cool as it gets. Shout out to Ricky Towery, man. For those watching at home, if you weren't here on property and you wanted a Ricky Towery bobblehead, Sorry about you. They were limited edition. I think they had 250 of them, and they were sold out before maybe the AM race this morning.
Sold out yesterday before the last race.
Man,
yeah.
There are rumors they may do more of them. I don't know that for certain, but because they went over so well and they went to such a great cause, we will see if there's some more Ricky Towery bobbleheads. Well, we're over the halfway point, and we are getting word from the scoring and race officials. This will be a 6-lap race. Again, a 6-lap race is the report we are getting from scoring and our officials. And we are about a minute away from, I believe, our riders checking in for another lap completed.
Yep, shouldn't be much longer, and we'll see them back on screen here from the Yamaha Racing live drone. We mentioned those Ricky Towery bobbleheads. Our official retailer, Moto Tees, they carry some Ricky Towery t-shirts as well.
That's
so
true.
Some good stocking stuffers. If you guys want to get your hands on some, you can visit them online, get it shipped straight to you. But here we go. Mike Wakowski back on screen, skipping his way through. Man, it's amazing to see. These dudes truly do have the skills to pay the bills. As you see Mike Wakowski just, like I said, skipping his way through it. It's amazing how they can put the power down on these machines.
Yeah, Wakowski, man, right now with no pressure. Barnes on the adjusted time, but physically, as far as that goes, Liam Draper back there, third in the overall, second in the XC1. Draper kind of stuck on an island by himself, just unable to see Mike Wakowski and unable to kind of key off of him to see what kind of pace he needs to be running. So Draper's got to find it within himself to push and get up in the fight.
And you know that's exactly what Mike Wakowski is wanting, to get away, get out there in no man's land all by himself. And doing a great job of it. You can see how much intensity Mike carried through that rock garden and then up and over that ski jump. Catching him back. Now from the Yamaha Racing live drone, going to pop out onto the field, onto the motocross track.
And I got, we go back. Well, really, I guess when Jackson, you and Zach Herron joined us, we saw these kind of battles between Wakowski and Draper, albeit a lot closer back in the XC2 days for these guys. And now seeing it at the XC1 level, again, albeit some separation in there as far as timing goes, but Wakowski just riding well. Missed a water bottle there.
It looked like not one, but two.
So that could play a factor. Hydration so important. See if he can snag this one.
Missed it.
And he missed it again.
That 3 water bottles he had to refuse there. Man.
2-lap card comes out, 4 laps completed. It'll be a 6-lap race when it's all said and done. And right now, if you're Mike Wakowski,
that's a good sign to me that he is feeling good, though, if he's not that worried about it. He did stick his arm out for that one, but he didn't seem too caught up about his hydration.
He's back onto the motocross track, and he'll be buzzing past us here in just a moment.
See if the Phoenix crew tries to get him another one, see how important how much emphasis they're going to put on that. Man, look how chopped up that section is.
Too. It's crazy to me. Jackson, you've been out here for enough moto to just watch them kind of doing portions of this track in reverse. Almost throws you off a little bit. And there is Ben Kelly into the pits. Was it a filter change? Yeah.
Filter swap. They've got that new piece of plastic there to throw on.
This is absolutely the right call, right? This isn't necessarily what we would typically call a dusty race, but there is dust out there. That may have been if Zach Herron can hear us, we'd love to get an interview maybe with some of the KTM mechanics on that. That may have been precautionary, right?
No doubt.
Grant Davis is out of it. Okay, we're in control. Let's make sure we've got as clean an air as we can get for Ben Kelly's machine to bring this thing home. Because really that's what it's about right now. He needs a decent finish, and he's got to finish this race, more importantly.
Yeah, that is the biggest thing. He's 58 points ahead of Cody Barnes, the next rider that's behind him in points, so he's not worried about that. He has to make it the checkered flag. If he DNFs like Grant Davis will leave here the overall champion, so he has got to make it to the checkered flag here today. I'm sure if we saw him on a different OEM brand, we would not be doing that. The KTM's so easy to swap out, able to pop that piece of plastic off, pop that air filter in, no problems, no bolts required. So I'm sure being on a KTM machine has a lot to do with that as well.
So Ben Kelly electing to come into the pits. New air filter Wakowski out in front, Draper in the 2 spot. Let's wait. Barnes has checked in. 4 laps completed for Barnes. Barnes now in the 3 spot. Reardon behind him, and then Brody Johnson, as you see on your Racer TV monitors. But Wakowski now, or still leading, I should say, Liam Draper up to the number 2 spot in the OA.
So there was Baylor, Caleb Russell, and then Cody Barnes making their way through. KTM in between them, I'm assuming the number 1 machine. Oh, Ricky Russell getting the back end, swapping out, but able to keep it on 2 wheels.
Under pressure there from Josh String as well.
He was, and now seeing Reardon making his way by. There's Johnson now, your 3rd place in the XC2 class. They're carrying a ton of speed through this section. Been told on the podium all weekend long just how fast this Ironman course is. And just to give you guys an idea of what we've been seeing here this weekend, I know well over 375 riders checked in for our first AM race for at least 1 lap complete on this course, and over 700 checked in for our 2nd. And not sure exactly how many people are going to be in this one. Let's see if I can check, but a ton of riders have hit this course here today, and that's going to be what shapes this thing up. 235 have checked in so far.
Just incredible. Tim Cotter, if you guys joined us late on the broadcast, he spoke raising some money for the Montgomery County. Man, I'm going to butcher the name. I should have looked at that before, but basically donations for the Montgomery County Community Foundation and Faith Alliance Fund that helps women, basically hotels if they're going to get cancer treatment, et cetera, meals, things like that. So stays locally here in the community. But while he was up there, we broke the record as far as the number of riders we've had in a weekend. And Tim talked about, the elephant in the room, the kind of controversial, no golf carts, no concerts, and, it wasn't something they took lightly, but if nothing else, it brought out the racers, and that was obvious by the numbers we had this weekend of the folks that came out and raced with us. So a record Ironman GNCC, and what more fitting than to have that happen on the 50th year.
Yeah, no doubt. Thank you guys for all coming out. It's been a great weekend so far, and we're going to finish it off with a bang as Mike Wakowski makes his way back through the field. 4 laps complete in what will be a 6-lap race, just about 7 minutes. Make that 6 minutes now, under 2 hours. These guys have been going to battle. Now seeing Reardon getting a splash of fuel, some hydration for him and refusing the hydration. Oh, no, that was not. I don't believe that was him. Possibly
Gerard?
No, I believe that was one of our riders that not doing the series with us, racing just here at Ironman on a borrowed 35 bike.
Oh, Lyndon Snodgrass.
Yes, that's who it is. Lyndon Snodgrass.
With us. Yeah, jumping on the KTM, and yeah, very, very cool to see him out here with us. Lyndon actually running 18th in the overall. Has not checked in yet, but obviously about to, and there it is, 16th now in the overall. Snodgrass, I guess that would make him, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th in the XC2 class. Awesome to have Lyndon back out here racing with us.
And a good run for him here today. I was told over at Ironman Hill that was him, and I didn't quite believe it, so good to have him back out racing with us.
When I looked down on the starting line and I saw 235s, I'm with you, I was a little confused. And then when I saw Lyndon, I'm like, that's got to be him. So, yeah.
Yeah, good to have him. And I do want to go on record while we were down there at Ironman Hill, a little bit disappointed with the Mud Fleas. I was expecting a real big pop. They didn't seem too excited to be on Racer TV here this year. Last year, they blew my ears out. Now, this year, it was a little
different.
Call
them out. I'm here for it. That's on you, Indiana. Get your act together.
Mixmaster Murphy's been down there pumping some tunes for them.
No doubt.
Man, they've been having a great time. That's a whole other world when you go down there. Seeing some of our amateur riders making their way through the creek here. And a ton of fans. It doesn't do it justice what you can see here. You pan to your right and you would see a huge crowd of Mud Fleas there behind the fence, and then a huge crowd up at the top of the hill as well. Going to see them start making their way back to the finish line, though, as 4 laps complete. Not going to be too much more left here in this one. Everybody going to be wanting to see who takes the win. Is it going to be the big number 8 we see on screen now?
Wakowski with no problems right there. That wasn't Draper, was it?
don't believe so.
I just wouldn't think. It was 15.5 seconds, the difference between them. And there is Liam Draper. Thought I saw a Yamaha buzz pass. Wasn't Liam. There is Liam right there. When they checked in again, about 15.5 seconds was the difference between them. We'll see if Draper is able to track down Wakowski.
And, of course, not being able to hear from this camera shot as there is a lot of noise down there. Don't want to cause any problems here on Racer TV, so cutting that audio off. But these guys absolutely on the rev bomb right here. As soon as they come out of that creek, it is wide open. Oh, hearing that it is on the show, just can't hear it from the announcer's booth here. But yeah, those dudes, they are wide open up that hill.
So they can hear it at home, but the announcers can't hear it. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
It gets a little loud in the ears calling the race. There goes Jordan Ashburn, the number 3. Factory gas ride.
That's what I'm talking about. As Gerard's right behind him, those dudes absolutely not letting off one bit. Grant Baylor now making his way.
Grant is going to be dangerous here, man. We're approaching that 2-hour mark, and that last hour with that looked like, okay, there's Ben Kelly. But again, Grant Baylor, you know, always excels late in these races. And we do have, just to update you guys, Zach Herron did head down to the Cowie pits trying to get a word in with Stu Baylor. We'll see if we can get that report here in a little bit. But Grant Baylor, just a dog late in these races. And as I say that on cue, Zach shakes his head no as he re-enters the truck. So we'll get a word in from Zach here in a second and see if we can get maybe something. Scoop. 198, Liam Draper charging through the FMF PowerPoint, trying to track down the number 8 Phoenix Racing Honda of Mike Wakowski. As we welcome Zach Herron back in the booth. The head shake no. Did he tell you to kick rocks?
No, I just couldn't find him. He has left the Kawasaki tent. He's back at his camper. To my understanding, I talked to Blake there at the Rocky Mountain Red Bear tent. Some back problems for Stu and the pain, just a little bit too much into the season. I think Stu just decided to call it. So they said he was in good spirits. Said he would have loved to chat. I couldn't find where he was parked at. So
it's all good.
Hey, very well.
I did talk to KTM as well, and kind of same thing. Yeah, just wanting to be safe. We want Ben.
Oh yeah. Okay, with the filter change. So
thanks for that update there. Yeah, like I said, I'm assuming being on those KTM machines where it's so simple to change that out, having a lot to do with it, because that machine, I'm sure the guys know that it's going to make it to the finish line, no problem. But hey, why risk it if you don't have to? Seeing Caleb Russell making his way by there, carrying some speed. And here's Ricky Russell now with a ton of pressure from Josh Strang. Josh Strang having some XC1 podiums, and look at this to the outside.
Did he?
He did.
Okay. Strang has come to life in the tail end of this 25 season. Multiple podiums.
Not a bad time to remind folks at home that Josh Strang has been doing this at the professional level for 19 years.
Wow.
Oh, look at this. Was that Gerard and Ashburn? I believe so.
And Grant Baylor hot on their heels.
So Gerard going to get that spot, hold that spot.
There is Barnes, Russell right behind, followed by Kelly. Then it's going to be Strang, and then Russell. So yeah, Strang made the pass happen.
And starting to break away just a bit now. As we see Caleb Russell starting to make his way to Cody Barnes, a good opportunity to Barnes, if Russell is carrying more speed, to lock on with him and get back some overall spots possibly. Sitting now in the 3rd place on the overall adjusted time, with Reardon in 4th and Johnson in 5th. So your XC2 top 3 sitting 3rd, 4th, and 5th on the overall charts.
Interesting day, interesting race to close out the season. Now over the 2-hour mark, less than an hour to go. And again, will be a 6-lap race when we get the checkered flag.
As we have our XC2 class so close together right there in 3rd, 4th, and 5th, that's a good opportunity for Jordan Ashburn. If he's able to catch on to one of them or make that pass on the adjusted time against one of those riders, it very well might be enough to get him ahead of all 3 of those riders into a podium spot. So we'll just have to see if Ashburn can continue to push and pull something off here as far as the overall elapsed time goes. And now going to pop back forward here. Under the bridge goes Mike Wakowski. And still looking cool, calm, and collected here at the mile 5.
Yeah, Wakowski just hitting his marks right now. Really not seeing anything exceptionally exciting one way or the other, just consistently hitting his marks, maintaining a good pace and maintaining the gap over this man right here, Liam Draper. So you can tell sense of urgency starting to set in, really trying to reel back the Phoenix Honda of Mike Wakowski.
So just about 13 and a half minutes left here in lap number 5 and what will be a 6-lap race.
I'm rooting for Liam to catch Wakowski for, if nothing else, just the battle between those two. As we've seen it so many times in the XC2 ranks. We'll see it here on the big stage for the XC1 here to close out the year. Lappers, lappers, lappers.
There we go. Cody Barnes and Caleb Russell popping back on screen, and Barnes still holding him off so far. And now the man with the plan here today, trying to make it to the finish line, Ben Kelly, and picking up some time as well. He's not out of this one yet, sitting in the 10th place overall spot.
You know, this is something we've not mentioned. We have a couple of times this year, but we have not had, since some guy named Caleb Russell, we have not had a repeat overall champion. And I say repeat not in consecutive years, but a repeat champion. No one has gotten 2 #1 plates in the time that Caleb's been gone. Not named Caleb Russell. Ben Kelly would be the first. He would be the first to capture 2 overall championships since Caleb Russell. That in itself is a pretty substantial accomplishment, especially when you take into consideration the injuries that Ben Kelly's come back from.
And as more of our riders make their way around or under the bridge, I should say, we talk about the after Caleb era and the legacy that he left behind and then has now come to rejoin. And going to continue to elevate now, showing that he can still go out and win with our XC1 field, and still looking solid here today. But Mike Wakowski trying to carve his name on the list of overall winners to close out the 25 season.
Back into this open field section right here. These guys able to carry some major speed through here. That is not a roadway, by the way. That's just from a record number of racers this weekend. Back into the woods they go. They're going to put them pop out on the other side here into this open field section again. And easy to tell who the XC1 guy is right there. Not discrediting our guy who just got passed, but man, the XC1 just another level through these sections.
Yeah, no doubt. Wide open. Absolutely wide open. Watching from our Yamaha Racing live drone. What we do believe is Mr. Mike Wakowski.
Yeah, and Wakowski, yeah, just he's been great. He's been great. And, you know, I applied the pressure to him earlier saying, it's been that third hour where Mike has, I won't say faded. He just kind of maybe succumbed to some of the pressure of being up front in some of these podium battles. He's got podiums under his belt, but that overall has eluded him. We'll see if he's able to change that here today, put together that complete race. He's certainly in position right now. And a great day for the Honda rides as well. Cody Barnes still sitting on the overall podium, sitting third in the OA, first in that XC2 class.
Yeah, it could be a big day for Mike Wakowski, a big day for Cody Barnes, and a big day for Phoenix as a whole. If Mike's able to hold on, like you say, not quite able to do it yet, but man, what a confidence boost I'm sure it would be for Mike Wakowski to stay in the top of that podium, especially here at possibly the biggest race of the year for these guys, the Ironman GNCC, the Yamaha Racing Ironman GNCC. We'll see if he's able to get it done and head into the offseason knowing he was able to beat not only the XC1 class, but that XC2 class that's been giving him trouble all year long.
I just double-checked the scoring. Mike Wakowski's got some XC1 podiums. He has not made the overall podium, so I was kind of right, kind of wrong on that. But, yeah, that's And that's got to be frustrating, too, as an XC1 Pro guy where you're up on the podium for the XC1 class in the top 3, but you're not for the overall. Speaks to the XC2 as well, not discrediting those guys, but you know Wakowski is ready to be up there on the OA podium, and, man, he is putting in the performance.
Today is looking like it very well could be the day. 2 hours and 6 minutes here into this one. 4 laps complete. And taking a look at timing and scoring. Going to be just about 8.5 minutes until we expect them back at the finish line.
It'll be 5 laps completed again, 6-lap race when we get the checkers from Ricky Towery. Liam Draper continuing to charge, but that gap still looks about the same, 15.5 seconds. Last time they checked in with the 4th lap completed. We'll see if Wakowski may have even stretched that out just a little bit.
Yeah, gotta wonder if somebody's just storing up that last little push for the season, for that last lap. You know, wait till the white flag comes out and then just absolutely leave it all out there. So,
seeing Gerard on the screen with Baylor now just right behind him. But yeah, I'm sure those guys, it's going to be a little bit easier to muster up that strength to do so, knowing that it's going to be the last time that they're going to be GNCC racing here this year.
Grant Davis or Grant Baylor rolling up the hill. I knew I'd do that.
Yep.
Johnny talked about him doing it, and I've done it like twice now. Again, Wakowski, island, by himself, doing his thing out in front. I mean, we're running out of nice things to say about him. Gets a little up into the berm. All right, small mistake there by Wakowski. Gets up into the berm a little too much.
Man, he's charging so hard. Is he going to have the fitness to do this for another hour?
And yeah, that's the situation we've talked about, whether it's off-road, moto, where you're just far enough behind a guy where you can't quite see him. Matter of fact, we saw it on the ATV side yesterday, where Wyatt Wilkin, once Bryson Neal was just able to get out of sight of Wyatt Wilkin, he said that affected him. I couldn't, key off of him. I didn't know, am I running a good pace? Am I not? And that's kind of where Draper's at right now. Draper's hauling the mail, but he's got to be thinking to himself, is this enough to catch Wakowski? I'm sure he's getting the pit boards, letting him know where he's at, but hard to charge when you cannot key off of the guy either in front of you or behind you.
A shout out to Wilkin, actually racing on the two-wheel side of things this morning. But
industry, yeah.
Mentioning how pumped up he got charging in the top spot, and we'll see if that could be something that happens here to Mike Wakowski as we get deeper and deeper into this race. So far, so good, though. He's not back down one bit up to this point. 2 hours and 10 minutes of straight racing.
Ashburn still in that number 3 spot in the XC1 class, sitting 6th in the overall. Those XC2 guys, man, 3rd, 4th, and 5th in the OA.
Watching Liam there from the drone, popping into the woods. Beautiful Indiana trees we have here in the fall.
I'm excited. I have a week off next weekend, and that means I'll be blowing leaves.
Yep.
I'm really stoked about that. Oh, well, is what it is.
Adulting.
My arborist buddy, he gives me hell about it, though, because he's like, you need to let them, that's good for the soil. I'm like, yeah, but it
Let them decompose, terrible. Mikey. Let them decompose.
I know, it's terrible. I'm not a hippie. I'm going to blow them into the ditch out front.
Burn them.
Burn them, yes. That scares me, too. Too many dry fields. That's how far out in front Mike Wakowski is. We're talking about blowing leaves in here. He's just riding extremely well. Cannot say enough about him, and Draper in that 2 spot. Lap traffic, maybe that starts to come into play. No problem for Wakowski there. Nearing the completion of a 5th lap completed to bring out the white flag in a moment. Here in a little bit, about 4.5 minutes before we should see that. Of course, these are on the other side of the fence there for what would be the pro or the auxiliary pits. It was our pro ATV pits yesterday. Kind of cool to have the pro ATV pits right there next to the 4x4 and the WXC yesterday. Loved that. No, that's not something we're always able to do at the properties we go to, but pretty daggone cool yesterday. And there's the 198 Am Pro, Liam Draper still pushing.
Man, it's so crazy to watch the two riding styles of Wakowski and Draper. Wakowski just seems to be cruising.
Yeah.
He's really not moving around all over that Honda, but Draper on the Am Pro Yamaha jumping all over the place, trying to track down the gap and track down the lead. Well, things are starting to get exciting here as the final round of the 2025 season is off and rolling, and it could be a big one for the local boy, Indiana's own Mike Wakowski. Tough break for Grant Davis, unfortunately. Going to give up the overall championship today after suffering from that injury sustained at our last round. Cody Barnes fighting his way onto an overall podium, but still plenty of time left to go. White flag coming out here shortly after a quick word from our sponsors on Racer TV.
We've been there since the very beginning.
20 left, the main event, the mud, the blood, the beer.
Organizing the industry and building champions. "100 years of defending your rights to ride into the future."
Are you ready to rev up your race game? Look no further than Landers KTM, your ultimate trackside support. We offer top quality parts, gear, accessories, and more. Plus, enjoy free labor from our certified technicians to keep you on track. Join the passion with your local dealership right here to support all your racing needs. Our friendly staff is geared up and ready to take care of you. And don't miss out. Experience up to $500 savings on select KTM Stasics. Available in all sizes. So, what are you waiting for? Swing by Landers KTM today and let us fuel your racing dreams. Landers KTM, where your race begins.
Community, family, teamwork. It's what we have stood on for over a decade. Hauling might be what we do at the surface, but it's much deeper than that. Because what you need matters. When you need a haul, give us a call at 724-852-4488. For 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and 365 days a year, we at JD Enterprises are prepared to serve you.
Progressive GNCC Racing is brought to you by Progressive. Progressive could save you hundreds of dollars on your automobile and motorcycle insurance. Specialized e-turbo bicycles. It's you, only faster. Rocky Mountain ATVNC.com. Get ready.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to GNCC Racing here on RacerTV.com. Hey, got some new ground here on Racer TV. We've got the J-Day Off-Road Series coming up next weekend from Southwick. It's going to be live on Sunday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. I'm going to be on there covering all the action from the Wick. That's right, Southwick, and we've got some Rippers ready to go and carve some fast lines out there. The J-Day Series, if you haven't already heard of it, go check them out on social media, man. Some great athletes, a great series, and excited to be bringing you more of the J-Day racing action right here on Racer TV. Shout out Ethan. I'm sure he's tuned in right now watching as well, and excited to be partnering up. Little team there between cool. AG Productions, Racer TV, and J-Day.
Yeah, very, very cool opportunity for those J-Day riders to get some extra love from Racer TV in the New England Rippus. the New England Rippers. That's AG Video, by the way.
Yeah, AG Video,
to make
not
sure you got
AG
that.
Productions. What am I doing here?
Yeah. Who hired Zach?
OPAG.
He's the one that works for AG Productions, dude.
Well, all right, I take it back. I guess I won't hear you.
Adam Gordon's in our ear right now. It is not AG Productions.
What are you looking at?
There it is, boys. Mike Wakowski makes his way through the pit row. And still, does he have a bottle hanging out of his helmet right now?
I think so. No? Maybe not. Maybe he does.
He said, forget about it. I'll get some hydration when this one's finished. The white flag flies. Ricky Towery has it in his hand. That means one more lap left to go here in 2025.
Mike Wakowski checking in. 5 laps completed. White flag out. We wait on the 198 Am Pro Yamaha of Liam Draper. Refresh. Last time around, 15.5 seconds as Wakowski back out onto the moto track. And still no Draper. Liam. That's going to be more than 15.5.
Here we go, still watching. There is the Ampro Yamaha of Liam Draper. Now let's see.
Oh, we know he's in second. I may have upset Mike. Oh, 38 seconds. Wow. So let's see where that puts Cody Barnes. Maybe, I don't know if Draper may be getting a short pit stop, perhaps. Not sure. Didn't see him run through the pro pits, but this may be an opportunity here for Barnes to jump back up into the 2 spot on adjusted time. And Johnny Gerard has checked in now. Gerard is 20 seconds back from Liam Draper. So Gerard getting around Jordan Ashburn. Grant Baylor around Ashburn. So Grant Baylor has checked in the number 4 spot. So now things getting spicy, heating up a little bit.
Something happening to that Flat Rock Motor Club gas
Yeah.
rider.
That's it. Here we go. So, and it does. Cody Barnes is checked in now. Cody Barnes up into that number 2 position. So on adjusted time, Cody Barnes up into the 2 spot. Draper falls back to 3rd in the OA. Gerard in 4th. Grant Baylor 5th. Ashburn finally checking in the 6th place in the overall.
So there it is. Less than 25 minutes of racing left to go here in this one, and it's going to be a battle on the time here between the Phoenix Racing Honda boys. We'll see. Is it going to be XC1? Will it be XC2? Can Wakowski get it done? Will Barnes? Or could we see some fireworks here from Liam Draper, or possibly even Gerard sitting in that 4th place spot? Who knows? Grant Baylor isn't out of this one. We see Baylor having some strong finishes.
Yeah, Wakowski, Barnes, Draper, 1, 2, and 3. Gerard 4th. Grant Baylor running out the top 5. 6th place going to be Brody Johnson, Jordan Ashburn behind him. KR, Caleb Russell, 8th. 9th going to be Ben Kelly. So Ben Kelly in a position to lock up that title, and Josh Strang rounding out your top 10.
There it was, Barnes, Ashburn, and Caleb Russell making their way through now. Ben Kelly checks in here at the mile 1 marker.
I believe this is Josh Strang right behind him on that Liquid Molly Beta. Saw Zach Osborne while I was walking around the pits. Zacho racing with us a little earlier today. Ricky Russell making his way through on the Triumph.
Man, what a section when we pan back and when we're seeing the back of the jerseys right there. Those guys are getting buck wild through that section.
Well, this is what we talked about. Hundreds, if not thousands, of machines making their way across this track. Roots starting to get exposed. Those square edge bumps really coming to light. And this is the most brutal you're going to see this Ironman course all weekend long. So the riders hanging on for dear life, and you never really know which way that machine's going to get kicked underneath you.
No, especially not with as many racers as we've had out there developing all kinds of different lines here today.
So taking a look at that points championship, I just browsed real quick. 9th place, that would be 12 points awarded to Ben Kelly. Obviously enough to wrap up the championship, as that points differential was 7 coming into today. So Ben Kelly's still doing what he needs to do to wrap up that overall championship.
Well, putting the championship aside and trying to focus on closing the year out with a statement, Mike Wakowski on that Phoenix Racing Honda. Really looking strong. The Indiana native taking his time through these open field sections, trying not to bury the bike in that powder.
Yeah, Mike Wakowski trying to capture what would be his first overall win. Well, extended look back right there from Draper. Wants to know who is back there as Wakowski just continues to set a pace. It was 15 seconds last time around, and now that lead, 38 seconds up on XC1 rider Liam Draper. Cody Barnes on the adjusted time, back up into the number 2 position. As we welcome back in the booth, Johnny G.
Yeah, a lot of action heating up out there. Obviously, some shakeups in the championship. We've talked about that, but the racing action absolutely still lit up out on track, and Mike Wakowski in search of what could potentially be his first ever overall win. And to put the icing on the cake, this rider right here, Cody Barnes on the number 990 machine, 99 on the plates, out there running in the number 2 spot. So right now, a 1-2 for the Phoenix Racing Honda boys, getting their first overall podium just 2 weeks ago with their XC2 rider Cody Barnes, and now looking to back that up with an even better 1-2 day here. Liam Draper there, we just saw him on screen on that Ampro Yamaha, running in the number 3 spot overall and in the 2nd place spot in that XC1 class. See some more riders coming through. There's Ricky Russell, there's Josh Strang, running back in the number 10 and 11 place spots on the overall, with still 2 riders hanging inside the top 10 from that XC2 class. Brody Johnson, 6th place overall. I noticed when I was out of the booth taking care of some tents that might start flying around with the wind, seeing Brody Johnson up inside the top 5 just a lap ago, now dropping back to 6, still looking to equal his best ever overall ride, which I believe was a 6th place overall finish earlier this year.
Continuing to watch here at the 2-mile mark, this split lane section. Most of our bike riders, it seems, choosing to jump up and over that log as we head back to the bottom of Ironman Hill, if I'm not mistaken. Most of the crowd looks like starting to make their way back up towards the podium. Everybody to do some celebrating to close out the season as we see your leader make his way by, Mike Wakowski.
What a celebration this will be for Indiana fans, that Phoenix Racing Honda team, and Mike Wakowski and his family. A longtime GNCC racer coming up through the youth ranks, the amateur ranks, a longtime XC2 rider, landing this ride with Phoenix Racing Honda a few years back as an XC2 rider, stepping up to the XC1 class and having some XC1 podiums, but today would be his first ever overall podium, and what a way to do it in the center of the box with the big win. And we see the gap that he has now opened up. Liam Draper sitting 38 seconds behind him, as Mikey just mentioned. There he comes now, jumping off that diving board. Getting a little stumble there, but making it through and up Ironman Hill. Wait and we'll watch for Cody Barnes, who at last check-in was about 31 seconds behind Wakowski. And there is Johnny Gerard through in the number 3 spot physically. And there is Grant Baylor now, ever closer to Johnny Gerard. When they checked in, that gap was actually, I guess it was 6 seconds. So still about the same there. And then we should see the 990 machine. There he is, Cody Barnes on the number 99. 2nd place overall, 31 seconds off the overall lead, looking to make it a 1-2 sweep for this rider right here, Mike Wakowski and Cody Barnes himself. We know David Eller, the team owner of that Phoenix Racing Honda team, out there watching and listening somewhere with a big smile on his face, grabbing the win with Bryson Neal yesterday with their Phoenix Yamaha ATV division. And then on Sundays, they compete aboard those Honda machines. And there is your potential to-be champion, Ben Kelly, running in the number 9 spot overall. 11 points would be his gain here today. 12 points actually would be his gain here today, and that would be more than enough, only needing 8 to get the job done. But he does have some riders behind him,
he does,
potentially, you know, in position to displace him and cost him a few points. So definitely still needing to stay on the gas, but at this point seemingly riding within his means comfortably making good moves and just marching towards potentially clinching his second overall championship. Already having clinched that XC1 title.
Didn't know we'd ever have to specify that, but here we are. And Johnny, you were out and about, and we talked about it a little bit as we see Gerard having a great day, by the way, sitting third in that XC1 class. We talked about it a little bit. Ben Kelly coming in or being waved in by the mechanics. They did a filter change. Yep. Zach Herron stopped by, 100% precautionary of, we need this machine to finish the race. We need you to get 8 or more points to wrap up the championship. And this rider not having the best day. Yeah, hit the surfboard, man.
I believe that was that rider we saw approaching
the diving board. I said surfboard.
The diving board, and it was rather hesitant. I was curious whether or not that was going to end well.
Ashburn on screen. Almost wheel taps off that tree, and he's got some company from behind from a charging Caleb Russell, who's made up a few seconds there, trying to work his way up to the rear wheel of the number 3 Flat Rock Racing Gas rider. And then here comes Ben Kelly, again on that championship ride the dreams are made of. And, you know, folks, obviously, as we see Josh Strang now giving chase, getting closer to the back of Ben Kelly, which if he's able to make the pass, there's Ricky Russell, there's Brody Johnson already ahead of Ben Kelly on correct time, so no danger there. But he's got 2 riders behind him, which could potentially push him back to that number 11 spot, which would still be 10 points, and he would still be in good position to wrap up this championship here today. The biggest thing, like you pointed out, Mikey, getting that machine to the finish line, needing, I believe, 13th place to wrap it up, sitting in the number 9 spot as they run. So he's basically got 4 spots to play with, and he's still safe. But, you know, we talked about this before, going back to even when Ben Kelly having that championship on the line in 2020 and also in 2019, he talked about they did a wheel change kind of preventatively, if you remember. They weren't sure exactly what was going on. He thought he felt something acting weird. They knew he didn't need to win the race that day, and it just goes to show when you've got all this on the line, you race for, you know, we started racing 9 months ago, and here we are trying to finish out the season. You've been working towards something that long, a lifetime really. But just this year alone, for 9 months, this has been your nearly singular focus in life, getting this title. You start hearing the ghost of the machine, the gremlins, the little noises. You start feeling things that aren't there, and you just kind of have to meter that. And I talk about it like as if I know. Never won one of these championships, but talking to the guys that have, they said, you know, until it becomes, you start getting 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, like Bill Balance had, and Eddie Lojak, the all-time leaders on both bikes and quads for championships. You know, at those guys, a championship's another day at the office. But for Ben Kelly, this would be championship number 2 and would be a huge, huge success for him and his FMF Red Bull KTM team here in 2025, just working towards what will be a checkered flag waving and a top 10 finish as he runs, wrapping up that title.
Yeah, and you could tell just by the way Ben was riding, it was a hit your marks, ride smart, you know, bring this thing home, get the points you need. Liam Draper, 3rd place in the OA, 2nd in that XC1 class. And Liam has had a great day, but Liam has had a tough day, man. He has just been on an island by himself for most of this race. May have some company coming, though.
We see it, Johnny Gerard, and just behind him, a charging grizzly. You never want to be near a charging grizzly bear, and that's exactly what Johnny Gerard is dealing with right now, with Grant Baylor in that number 4 spot, wanting a piece of the podium. A little stumble there, getting tripped up on those roots just a little bit, but the grizzly is in hot pursuit, trying to wrestle away that final podium position.
Yeah, Grant Baylor turning on late in this one and still charging.
Cody Barnes, your XC2 leader and 2nd place overall, potentially putting himself in that position for the 2nd time in as many races, doing the same just a few weeks ago. There we see Jordan Ashburn, and here comes the, whoa, look at that, feet flying everywhere, a little flying W for the 557 of Caleb Russell on that Ampro Yamaha machine. You can see just how slick it is on those rocks under that bridge in the tunnel there. Now comes the 530 of Ben Kelly. Feet on the pegs, looking pretty smooth and clicking off the mile markers. But, as just we say that, feet off the pegs, sliding off the roots, and almost losing a position there to Josh Strang, and then Ricky Russell behind. Here comes your 2nd place rider in XC2, Brody Johnson, would equal one of his best performances of his career, currently sitting in that 6th place overall position and 2nd in the XC2 class.
Just an incredible day for him.
Look at that e-bike just ripping.
Yeah, that scared me to death. I'm not going to lie. I saw that across the top of the screen.
Looked like one of the FMF and Pro Yamaha guys. That is a road.
It is, yes.
It's actually a numbered road here in Crawfordsville. There we see actually, it looks like possibly Caleb Russell's mom there, Tina, looking like she is out checking out some things in the woods. She's got some paperwork in the hands, maybe keeping track of lap times. Back out on course with your leader, Mike Wakowski, on the number 8. Clicking off mile markers, ever so closer to making history for himself here in a history-making 50th season of GNCC racing.
Zach Hare and Jackson Burrow going to make their way down to the finish line area. We're going to celebrate a lot today. We're going to celebrate a winner, our top 3, and a national championship for the overall, which we anticipate to be Ben Kelly. But man, Johnny, can't take anything away from the race that Mike Wakowski's had. He's now right at about just over 10 minutes away from capturing what would be his first overall win. And I kept thinking, oh, he's had top 3 overalls. He has not this season. He's had top 3 in the XC1. He has not had a top 3 overall. So what a statement to come out, not just get on the top 3 overall, but to take the win.
And he did have an XC2 win here a few years ago. If you remember the crazy drama coming to the finish line, Liam Draper looking to grab his first ever XC2 win a few years back in that championship season he had in 2023, getting stuck in the ruts right before the finish line. Mike Wakowski zapping him and snagging the win away. If memory serves me, may have been Mike Wakowski's first XC2 win.
I think you're correct.
So what a special place this could potentially be for him, already having an XC2 win here, and today adding not only an XC1 win, but an overall win as well. The soils of Ironman have been good to Mike Wakowski.
They have. Absolutely have. And Cody Barnes, man, to be able to get that XC2 class win here today in what we call him the adopted Hoosier. He comes out of Illinois. Be a good day for Barnes. And, you know, back to Ben Kelly. We talked about this, you know, a little bit when we had the footage there of Grant. And I've said this to you before. I think you're on the same page as me, Johnny. I'm not a yeah, but guy where it's, well, Ben Kelly won, yeah, but I refuse to live in those. You raced yourself. You can attest to the fact that, you know, you have to complete the races. Your body does. Your machine has to complete the races. Ben Kelly cannot control what happens to another rider. We hate seeing what happened to Grant Davis, but that's not on Ben. Ben did his job. And if he can hang on to these points, you know, that is Ben's championship.
Absolutely. And, you know, honestly, Grant Davis, obviously, I'm sure at this point, anxiously waiting to see where Ben Kelly crosses the finish line, because this championship isn't over. Ben Kelly still has to complete these mile markers and get himself to the finish line inside the top 13 overall. Should he potentially fall outside that top 13, Grant Davis will be your 2025 overall champion, regardless of the fact that he will not have scored points here in the last 2 races of 2025, really showing just how dominant he was through the first 11 rounds of GNCC. But let's speak about Grant Davis here for a minute. You know, this is a big learning experience for him, I believe, you know, to really put in the riding this year. No question, was right on point, doing what he needed to do, winning so many races, being in the mix week in and week out, wrapping up that XC2 title a full round early, and then looking at things. And Mikey, I said this to you when he crossed the finish line at round number 11 and said, you know, hey, got the win today, 24-point lead. If you remember, you know what I'm about to say.
Yes.
2 more races, I just need 2 more wins. And it speaks to his young, full of energy mentality of, I want to go out and really put a stamp on this season, which obviously everybody's competitive, but at that point, very much in the driver's seat with 24 points to play with, coming out, having a racing incident, a crash. It could happen at any time, but I really believe that coming away from this, Grant Davis and those around him will take a look at this and say, hey, we had done the work we just really needed to maintain. And unfortunately, that crash at the Penton proving so costly. I spoke with when I was out of the booth, spoke with his brother, Nick, and I'm sure you guys got the update. Just, you know, the blurred vision was having some lingering effects, and, you know, he just didn't feel like he was able to get the job done today, and electing to do the smart thing and pull himself out of the race and kind of let the championship chips fall where they may. But he's a young man. He's got a long GNCC career ahead of him, and I don't expect this to be the last time we talk about Grant Davis battling for a GNCC championship.
Yeah, he's going to work his way up the win total. I have no doubt about that. Yeah, I think the young man made the right call. As Caleb Russell buzzing past through right there, the 5.57. You know, a lot to gain, sure, by going out there.
Strang has gotten around Ben Kelly now, so that will drop Ben Kelly back to the 10th place spot. Again, still enough. There is Ricky Russell behind him, even if he would lose that position. Ricky not very close to him, but definitely within striking distance. But we see now back a gap to the next rider in the overall, which would be Gus Reardon, then Jack Walker, and then actually our top overall amateur, Lane Whitmer.
Yeah, dude's
in the
having a day.
14th spot. So Ben Kelly has a pretty comfortable gap and margin over that 13th place rider, which is Jack Walker. And actually, it would just be Lane Whitmer that he needs to stay ahead of as they run right now to secure this 2025 GNCC overall title.
So Ben in a very good spot. For those at home maybe wondering, well, where is that cutoff? 14th place. If he got 14th or back, 14th pays out 7 points. That would not be enough because that would end in a tie. And as Johnny indicated earlier, if it ended in a tie, it would come down to overall wins. That would favor Grant Davis. So, yeah, again, Ben Kelly needs 8 points. So he's got to get at least 13th in that overall to capture this title.
In position to do so now, running in that 10th place spot with Ricky Russell just behind him in 11th.
We're getting down to the nitty-gritty in this one, just approaching the 5-minute mark before we get a checkered flag on this Ironman GNCC and on the 50th season of GNCC as well. We talked a little bit earlier, Johnny, just about Ben Kelly, and you know, we have not had a repeat champion, and when I say repeat, not a back-to-back champion, but we've not had a repeat champion since Caleb Russell's days. Ben Kelly would be the first, and that's impressive for two things. One, he's the first guy to do it. Two, Ben, and we've talked about his injuries at one time, was kind of like, will he ever be able to come back and even be close to what he was before he left? I don't know that he's that rider that he was before he left in that season that he got injured. I don't think he's quite that rider, but he's obviously still championship caliber, and that's pretty daggone impressive to come off of such a kind of decimating injury.
Well, and to that point, the kind of irony there is Ben Kelly winning that first championship after Caleb Russell left racing altogether. Obviously, he's returned since. But in those, 4 years there, we had 4 different champions.
Yeah.
Ben Kelly winning the first one after Caleb Russell. And the talk of the town at that point, amongst the people who don't have a dog in the fight, obviously everybody thinks their rider is the next champion. If you were a Thad Duvall fan, it was going to be Thad, it was going to be, whoever it may be, whether it was Josh Strang, Stu Baylor, any number of riders, felt like, okay, this is my chance now that Caleb Russell's gone. But I think the smart money was on Ben Kelly. He was the rider on the move. He had the momentum. He was doing all the right things, he was kind of the next best guy at that point. To the point that Caleb Russell actually said in interviews, one of the reasons why he retired is he wasn't sure that he wanted to race Ben Kelly for championships. So Ben Kelly wins that title. That first one back when Caleb Russell retires, and then we talked about it, a myriad of injuries. We had broken legs. We had the nasty broken leg after winning the first 6 rounds of the season, and then the complications that came with. There was hip injuries. There was a re-breaking of the leg, racing with a broken leg. So to come back essentially 4 years later and do that again, while admittedly maybe not being, you can't say not the rider. This guy's looking to clinch a GNCC championship today, but doing it differently. It wasn't with pure dominance. It was with racecraft. It was with knowing what he was capable on any given day, taking what he could get and moving forward. And if you look at Ben's scores so far this year, consistency really is the difference. I mean, his worst finish was an 11th place. Every other race, 4.37, a rough start to the season, then 2 wins, an 11th at round 6, which was his worst finish of the season, then coming back 2.23, 6, 4, and then a rough round of 8 at our last round. But it's consistency. He scored points at every round. He kept himself in or near the top 5 almost every race, save for 1. And that's what it takes to be consistent and win a title. Ben Kelly, maybe not as fast as the Ben Kelly that we saw in 2022 and 2021, but he seems to be more consistent, smarter. He's learned and he's evolving, and it will potentially reward him here in just a few miles with another GNCC overall title.
Very, very cool stuff for Ben Kelly. He's got to hold his head high if he can hang on for this one. And the other guy that's got to hold his head high here today, obviously, Mike Wakowski. out in front. Now under 3 minutes away now from getting a checkered flag from Ricky Towery and Cody Barnes. There goes Brody Johnson there, the 235, sitting 6.08 second in that XC2 class. Gus Reardon back 12th in the overall third in class in that one. And how about it? We've talked a little bit about Johnny Girard. Obviously not, the call it the championship hangover, whatever you want to call it. He had some injuries, very serious injuries that kept him away from racing. Comes back for ISDE, has the hand injury, unable to come back to GNCC after that. You got to be happy for a Johnny Girard here. We're sitting third in the class here to close out the season.
Well, third in the class, fourth overall. He does have some pressure right now from Grant.
He does,
Taylor,
yeah, Grant's
but
there.
This is a great building ride for Johnny Girard. Looking back, I mean, the last time we saw Johnny with really good finishes was, well, the only time we saw Johnny with what for him would be a good finish was at round 2 in the Florida Sand. Had a bike issue at round number 1, scored no points, comes back, wins with the number 1 plate, his first win with the number 1 plate at round 2 in Florida, a dual right to the finish with Caleb Russell. We're thinking, okay, this is the Johnny that's going to fight back and try to defend this title. And then the wheels quite literally came off the bus. An 11th place finish at Talladega in the mud, and then nothing, crickets, not racing the Old Gray, not racing Kim. It's so many issues there with injuries, and he has yet to score a single point since then. We do know at the last race he was very much in position to score a top 20 finish, in opting to basically give his own race up to help his fallen teammate Grant Davis make sure he got some help, and it did cost him a top 20 finish, so he was definitely riding well. But so many people coming in today talking about, can Johnny Girard really show the flashes of brilliance that we saw in 2024 when he won this title? And I think today he's proven with a solid top 5 ride, he is still that rider, he is still that guy. He could very likely come out and be battling for wins again when we line up at round 1 of 2026 without question.
That is absolutely it, as we just see the number 8 Phoenix Racing Honda Mike Wakowski pop into sight and out of sight, back in amongst the trees in the woods here, but poised and ready to bring home his first overall win, first XC1 win. And the state that he grew up in here in Indiana, got to imagine he's got some family out there watching here with us this weekend as well. So this has got to feel good if you are Mike Wakowski. We're going to keep our eye on the time, though. Cody Barnes making a charge that last lap around, and Mike Wakowski, technically speaking, late to the finish line. Will it make up enough time for maybe an opportunity for Barnes? So we're going to celebrate Wakowski here if he can hang on and physically cross that finish line, but we may have to pause to see where Barnes checks in as Wakowski continues to push around some lap traffic and past the auxiliary pits. Not much further to go for Mike Wakowski. And we'll get our final checkered flag of 2025 and tie a bow around this 50th season.
Mike Wakowski now out onto the Ironman MX motocross track, the MX of Nations, running the opposite direction, but on this very soil just 3 weeks ago. Now we flash back to Johnny Girard, but Mike Wakowski coming in for the win, looking like just a few more corners here as he's now into the pro pits, and this is it. Just about 3 corners remaining till Mike Wakowski looking to put the finishing touches. There you see it, Mikey, the fist pump on his first ever XC1 and overall win. I'll let you take it from here, Mikey.
Yeah, what a journey it's been for Mike Wakowski. We've seen him with some great battles in the XC2 and the XC1, but today it is all about this man, the number 8 Mike Wakowski, getting it done in the childhood home state for the Phoenix Racing Honda team. That's as good as it gets to cap off. Hit the rev limiter, man. Absolutely celebrate if you are Mike Wakowski.
Interesting if you saw in the final turn there, he actually started to celebrate, looked like he was going to rev bomb, and I think it clicked in his head.
Oh,
that time
Cody Barnes.
Cody Barnes, you saw him kind of drop the clutch, get across the finish line, then we'll do the celebrations. With a 31-second gap coming into the last lap, it appears he has done enough. We will have to wait until Cody Barnes crosses the finish line or enough time has elapsed that we can be sure, but as of right now, Mike Wakowski, definitely your XC1 race winner, and looking like he's done enough to secure his first ever GNCC overall victory.
Liam Draper has checked in. He's in the 2 spot, at least for the moment. We'll continue to watch here. We're looking for the 99 990 if you're looking at timing and scoring. Gerard is checked in now, and Grant Baylor.
Little handshake between those two. They had a battle right to the finish.
They did.
Johnny didn't even make it out of the scoring chicane before he stopped and turned around to shake Grant Baylor's hand, and that's a pretty happy Johnny Gerard there, rounding out the XC1 podium there in 3rd place.
Watching Jordan Ashburn buzz through here. Boy, he's got some the smoke behind him. KR coming through those pro pits, see if they're able to pick up position.
Cody Barnes is
Cody Barnes is in, and Cody Barnes will take 2nd. So Cody Barnes taking 2nd place.
Ooh, closer than it was, though.
Close.
13 seconds, the margin of victory for Mike Wakowski. And here comes the man of the day, well, maybe the man of the year.
Yeah.
Ben Kelly working his way through the final corners. You can see the team members out there celebrating. When he crosses the line, we'll refresh, but there have not been 13 riders checked in. He's right behind Josh Strang. This should be a 10th place finish overall for Ben Kelly, and will be enough to secure the 2025 GNCC overall title for the FMF Red Bull KTM rider, Ben Kelly, his 2nd career overall championship.
And there it is. He is your national champion. We got to wait on a couple of riders to come in on adjusted time, but I think he's safe, Johnny. Sits 9th right now. We'll see Brody Johnson when he checks in where he's at, but Ben Kelly, got to think he is our national champ. And boy, what a season by him. Absolutely going the distance. I mean, that's what it comes down to. How many race interviews, Johnny, did we have with Ben Kelly where you could just see the frustration in his eyes, unable to grab those overall wins, but just kept chipping away at this one. And you can't take anything away from Ben Kelly, man. That's just an impressive comeback that he has had. Soaking it all in. Timmy?
Been talking with his team there, and obviously they are confirming that he has done enough to wrap up that title. Doesn't look overly elated right now, but I think part of that is likely the sense of relief that it's over. He's done all he can do. Again, we do have to wait for a few XC2 riders to check in, but barring some crazy charge from about 4 XC2 riders, Ben Kelly has done enough. He has a big gap over a lot of those riders behind him, only needing to finish 13th in the overall, looking like it is going to be a top 10. It looks like now Brody Johnson has checked in that number 6 spot.
So that is going to bump Ben, and now 10th in the OA. Behind him has checked in Ricky Russell out of the XC1 class. So still got Angus Reardon, Jack Walker, but I think he's safe. Man, we got post-race interviews coming up here in a little bit. We'll talk with Mike Wakowski on his first overall win. We'll obviously talk with Cody Barnes on the XC2 win and 2nd in the OA. Liam Draper, hopefully able to get a word in with Johnny Gerard as well. And then, of course, we'll be doing some celebrating with Ben Kelly as well as far as the overall is concerned.
See the family coming in there. Ben's girlfriend, Maddie, his mom and dad down there. You can see they've been traveling with Ben since he was just a young man coming out of New England here as part of that Trail Jesters team. Ross Morey down there somewhere likely or watching from home, a huge part of this man's success. Now a 2-time GNCC overall champion.
Impressive stuff. I believe Zach Herron ready down there with Mike Wakowski.
Hey, guys, down here in the pits with Mike Wakowski, officially an XC1 and overall winner, man. Talk about what a way to end a year, not only to do it, but to do it in front of the home state as well. Take us through the emotions and how good it feels to get this monkey off the back.
Yeah, man, honestly, last night I was like, man, I can do this, and just need to put it all together, and just told myself I can win. And today I just felt, man, so good. The bike felt awesome, and I think that was the key factor. Got a good start, and just honestly just felt just effortless. I mean, they always say when you can win, it's feels easy, but that was truly an awesome day, and just so blessed that the day in general went that smooth. And just big thanks to the team. Like, this is incredible.
Mike, we've seen you kind of build throughout the 2025 season. Little mistakes here and there is what's kept you off that overall podium. Kind of feels like we put all the pieces together here to close out the year, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Like, my bike felt unreal. 450 Honda was working nice. And, yeah, just as a whole, the whole team came out. And I think the support was awesome. And everyone's stoked. And to go into the off season like this, I've never actually done this. So it'll make the off season, all those long hours, well worth it.
Hey, well, we can't wait to see what you've got in store for next year. Mike Wakowski, the Hoosier, gets the job done and gets the win here at Ironman.
Well, big congratulations to Mike Wakowski, his first overall win. That's one you definitely carry with you and remember, no doubt about that for Mike. And we'll wait to get our interview set up, I'm assuming, with Cody Barnes coming up next, your second in the overall. We'll talk with Barnes here in a moment. And Cody, what a way to round out the season for him. These last couple been pretty sensational.
Yeah, and I think the word on the street is that Cody Barnes will be in that XC1 class next year. I think he's made that pretty clear. So what a better way to build momentum coming into 2026 for your first XC1 races than back-to-back second-place overall finishes to close out the 2025 season. Very reminiscent of what Liam Draper did at the end, although he did it from the XC1 class. But Cody Barnes really kind of building momentum here, and it looks like he's ready now with our man Jackson Burrell.
Yeah, guys, I'm standing by here with Cody Barnes. Cody, a big day for you, man. A big day for Phoenix Racing. Take us through it from your point of view.
Yeah, it was a good day. I got off to a third-place start, which was good, and kind of was behind Toby and Jack and made a couple passes that first lap, and yeah, I kind of just got off by myself, and then I was in the back of the XC1 guys, and I mean, it was just hard to pass. I mean, with the dust in the fields and stuff, no one wanted to let each other pass, and I get it. But yeah, I just put my head down and charged as hard as I could, and yeah, I mean, second overall on the day is good. And then, you know, for Phoenix to go 1-2 overall, that's pretty cool for the team and shows the progression of the team itself. So yeah, overall it was a good day. Pumped on my bike, how it was running. Mechanic kills it, bonsai suspension. My bike was awesome all day, and yeah, it was just put my head down and charged the whole race.
Yeah, second place on the overall, but we can't forget a first place in the XC2 class. What do you think about that and how you feel going into 26?
Yeah, you know, first place in the XC2, it's good. This is the closest I get to home. There's a lot of home people here, so to win in front of them and get on the overall podium again, it's cool, and it's a good cap to the end of the year.
Are we ready to go for 26?
Yeah, I need a break for a little bit. I need to refresh, go back to South Africa and chill out. But no, I'm excited for 26, and hopefully we can just continue on the route that we're going, and I think it'll be good.
There it is, guys. Your second overall, Cody Barnes.
Heading back to South Africa.
Well, his wife, Jade, is from South Africa.
That's right.
They went there for the first, well, he went there for the first time last year, had a great time, got to visit with some of her family, and was actually speaking with them this morning, and he said, you know, I'm really ready to just kind of get this race over with today. I want to do well, but I'm really looking forward. I think he said they're leaving on the 10th of November to head over there and spend some time in South Africa, just you know, refreshing, rejuvenating, and getting his program ready to go for 2026, coming out swinging in that XC1 class.
Hey, enjoy the time off, man. You've certainly earned that. I believe we're going to be talking with Liam Draper next.
They're getting ready. They hear his name, and they suddenly start scrambling. They're getting him ready.
They're panicking.
Second place in the XC1 and third place overall today, Liam Draper.
He's ready, boys. Third overall, Liam Draper. Liam, quite the battle you had today. Take us through it.
Yeah, it was a battle from the word go. I got a pretty average start. I don't know where I was, but I wasn't at the front going into the woods. So I put my head down and made some quick moves, and I felt really good. Laps 1, 2, and 3 to the fuel stop, and then after that, I kind of had 3 good crashes back to back in that same lap, and I lost that touch with Mikey and put myself in a hole, and from there it was really tough to get going again and find my flow. But yeah, I'm definitely bummed to not get that win. I left it all out there today, but yeah, on to 26.
Hey, that's what it's all about, leaving it all out on the track. Second in XC1, third on the overall charts. How do you feel headed into 26? What's the plans?
Yeah, excited. Obviously, it's a fight now, and I'm trying to get to work to get that win and battle these boys all day long.
He's ready to go. Liam Draper, your third place.
Decent way, you know, in the season for Liam, but you can hear it in Liam's voice inflection there. He's maybe feels like he left a little on the table this year. I think he had some pretty high expectations for himself, and yeah, he's going to come back strong next year.
Absolutely. I mean, at the end of 2024, Liam closed out the season so strong, coming into that XC1 class after, you know, some injuries and not being able to defend his XC2 title. He set himself up to battle for this championship this year in a lot of people's minds. Didn't materialize that way, but definitely closing out the season with 2 back-to-back podiums, a second at the last round and 3rd overall at this one, showing that he's in the mix. He's definitely ready to battle for race wins, and he's got to be a pretty confident guy going into 2026.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see, where's our camera crew? I'm looking for Evel Knievel.
There he is, right
Mike
there.
Nichols.
I think they're down there.
Are we with Ben yet?
Looks like Zach Herron's going to step over there and.
So he's wrapping up an interview, and we'll be able to talk with the national champ here in just a second. Shout out to Mike Nichols, rocking the Evel Knievel gear these last couple of days, looking good out there.
It's Halloween weekend.
Almost next weekend. And looks like
Zach Herron is ready now with our 2025 overall champion, Ben Kelly.
All right, here it is, guys. No more questions about it. Ben Kelly, your 2025 overall champ. Man, I was there at the XC1 championship presentation, and you kind of smiled and you were like, this is great. And congratulations to me and the team. We worked hard for it, but this isn't my sole focus. I want that overall. It was right back to the grindstone, right back to work, and you've got it done. Can we take a little bit of a sigh of relief now?
Yeah, for sure. I'm pumped. I'm stoked, but I wish I would have had a better race here to cap off the season, a win or something. I put myself in a good position and felt like I had the speed those first few laps, and I was kind of just going to try to save some energy till the end. But, once I was behind Jordan there, and my bike just sucked a little too much dust, and she started to bog down, so I had to kind of nurse it to the finish. I don't know what lap that was, 3 or 4, and then, we did an air filter swap, so I dropped quite a few places back, 9th or something, and just at that point I knew Grant was out, and I just had to fight. I was fighting the track, fighting the bike, everything. So it was all I could do to get it to the finish. Honestly, just hard to see with the dust and how gnarly the track was. Like I said, I felt like I had more speed, but was just struggling and just played it smart.
I was going to ask, when the team relayed the information that Grant was out, how much of a mental switch did you make? I know some riders that they're used to pushing hard. They don't like to back it down too much. Did we change our riding style some and back things down big time, or did we just keep the momentum going?
No, I just kept it going. I knew at the pit Grant was out, and that's when I was right in 4th behind Jordan. We were battling for that 3rd place spot, and I was comfortable there, and I was like, all right, I got this. Just take it home to the finish. And like I said, that's when my bike started to bogged down and not really want run, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So I stopped at the next KTM guy. It was Timmy. Told him I needed an air filter, so I was able to finish that lap, luckily, get the filter change. And like I said, I dropped way back, and honestly, I didn't know what position I needed for a while, because I'm like, damn, I still need 7 points, and I'm kind of back here. But finally they told me I needed 12th, and I was in like 9th or 10th or something, and I had to fight for it. Like I said, I was getting kicked all around, and just enough dust out there to where it was squirrely. Like, I felt like I had a little more speed and could make some passes in certain spots, but just could never get close enough in the dust. And it is what it is. I mean, hats off to Grant. He really fought hard. We were battling hard this year, and then he kind of was getting the better of me late in the season. Like I said, I just wasn't on it, but his time will come. I mean, it's here already. He just fortunately had a crash, and that's what happens. It's happened to me in the past, and it's a gnarly sport, and luckily he'll live to fight another day, and I'm sure we'll be battling for this thing next year.
Hey, I love it. Congratulations. Ben Kelly battles through and comes out on top, your 2025 overall champ.
Well, interesting perspective there from Ben Kelly. Obviously not over-elated with his ride today. Very happy about this championship, but pointing out, what essentially happened to Grant Davis with the championship seemingly within reach, crashing out, having an injury that ultimately manifested itself again this weekend, causing him not to be able to finish, costing the championship. Very similar to what happened to Ben Kelly winning the first 6 rounds of 2022.
Yeah, he was automatic back in that year. And take a look at our specialized race recap here. A lot on the line for those two men. Grant Davis making his official XC1 debut, and it was off to the races. And man, this one was one for the books basically from the start. Kicking up a little bit of dust, but wasn't too bad as the day wore on in the XC2 class. Rolling off the line. Of course, Cody Barnes having a day there with the XC2 class when that one was all said and done. I believe it was Toby Cleveland grabbing the whole shot for the XC2 class. And the XC3 125s singing the song of our people here at Ironman Raceway. But into the woods we go. And Johnny, this was this was everything you'd want and more out of the season finale of our 50th season.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we had the players up front early on. Grant Davis obviously being assessed a 15-second penalty, which kind of shook things up at the completion of lap number 1, but he was right there with Ben Kelly prior to that. We thought we were going to see a two-rider duel with 7 points separating them, and it made for an exciting beginning to this race. Ben Kelly on a charge, and just behind him, the 922 of Grant Davis. After Davis assessed that penalty, dropping back near outside the top 10, and then we know things continue to develop from there.
Yeah, Mike Wakowski is just setting a pace out in front with Liam Draper behind him in the number 2 spot. Those two, both of them honestly kind of on an island today. It is hard to pick out anything Mike Wakowski did wrong today. Absolutely flawless. That was the heartbreaking moment. We got a quick glimpse there of Grant Davis in the pits with his mom, mechanic, and sister being pulled after having to pull himself from the race.
Cody Barnes leading the overall throughout much of the early stages of this one before Mike Wakowski able to set a pace that was fast enough to regain the overall lead, pushing Cody Barnes back to the number 2 spot. A little bit of moment of drama for the 530 and then FMF Red Bull KTM team there, with Ben Kelly saying the machine was bogging out, wasn't responding the way he wanted it to, having to go and take a filter change, dropping him back, was running in a 4th place spot, dropping him back to the tail end of the top 10. And then the questions were asked, what does Ben Kelly need to do? And the answer was needed to score 8 points, needing a 13th place overall finish, and he was running just inside the top 10.
He did just do one filter swap, just to let folks know. But yeah, no, that and was interesting. You know, we thought kind of precautionary, like let's bring it home, and it was really. But yeah, hearing the machine bogged down. But this man right here, Mike Wakowski, getting it done for the overall, and then Ben Kelly coming in and a sigh of relief. And I guess the side panel gone.
They didn't get the number plate reattached properly in the side panel, so it was open. I'm sure Ben may or may not have known that while he was riding.
Yeah,
as soon as he crossed the line, he was thinking, well, that definitely leaves an interesting little situation with that filter susceptible to dirt and elements. But he got it to the finish line, wrapping up his 2nd overall GNCC title. What a day for Ben Kelly.
Great day for Ben, national title. Great day for the Phoenix Racing Honda team. Wakowski taking 1st, Cody Barnes taking 2nd in the OA from the XC2, Draper a 3rd. Johnny Gerard, great day for him. Grant Baylor running out that top 5. Brody Johnson, another Honda in the top 10. Ashburn 7th, KR Caleb Russell 8th place, Strang 9th. Still doing it after 19 years. And Ben Kelly doing what he needed to do to capture that national championship. Johnny, what a heck of a season, man. I don't even know how to put this one in words. We talked all year long about this being a historical season. It's 50 years, and yeah, that's kind of a cliche. It's going to be a historical season. This was Grant Davis and Angus Reardon, Cody Barnes, Nick DeFeo, Josh Toth, all of those guys kind of propelling the XC2 forward of what we expect to see out of those guys now, raising the bar, and Grant Davis was at the forefront of that, battling with a championship up until today. And Ben capturing it from the XC1. But, Johnny, the thoughts on the year, today's race?
I think if you look at the year as a whole, to try and sum it up quickly, the way that we've seen so many of these races develop over the years is kind of how this season developed. Obviously, the XC2 has elevated their game. Those guys, primarily Grant Davis, Cody Barnes, Gus Reardon, and so many others now that really were pushing the pace. But early in the races, they're usually so fast, and then the XC1 riders tend to outlast them. It's kind of a little bit of a parable for what happened here in the season. You know, Grant Davis dominant throughout certain points of the season. Ben Kelly, though, just being the consistent presence there, keeping the pressure on. And ultimately, when it came down to it, Ben Kelly scoring points in every race, doing more than enough to get his 2nd overall title. And sometimes it's age and treachery over youth and enthusiasm, and that's what happened here in 2025.
And a big takeaway, you know, for me was that post-race interview by Ben. He kind of put it in perspective, and I think, to me, what he was talking about was that 21 season where he comes out and it's win, 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 and it looks like Ben is just going to run away with this thing, has a gnarly injury, and it changes the season completely. He's out. That's it. And so when he says, not necessarily I know how you feel, Grant Davis, but, hey, I've been there before. He absolutely is correct. He has been there before, and I think that's a mutual respect thing. Ben even said it himself. He was outright beating me at points of this season, and that young man is going to come back. Grant Davis, that young man, going to come back next year and be battling for that number 1 plate. And Johnny, for the first time since Caleb Russell, we have a repeat champion, and it's Ben Kelly.
Yeah, he was able to do enough to get it done, putting himself in a short list of elite competitors that have been able to win more than one GNCC title, and the year belongs to Ben Kelly.
That's it. Well, big congratulations to Ben. Johnny, it's been real, man. What a great year. 50 years. This is crazy.
50 years, and next year will be 51. Honestly, with what we've seen today and what we've seen through the final parts of the season, I'm already excited for next year. We know there's so many riders capable of going out and battling for wins. It's like we said yesterday, let's load them up. Let's go to Big Bottom. Let's get her done.
Let's go. We do have more coming up on Racer TV in the coming weeks, in the coming month. We'll take a look at that right now. J-Day, the cat's out of the bag. We're heading to Southwick 2 GP. That's going to be November 2nd. And then we head down south to Florida, sunny Florida, for the Thor Minios down to Gatorback Cycle Park. That is going to be Thanksgiving week. Gobble, gobble. It's going to be a good one. So there's your upcoming Racer TV broadcasts for the rest of the year. So how about that? Going to be a fun one. And that is going to wrap things up here for us today and the 50th season of GNCC. On behalf of Jackson Burrell, Zach Herron, Johnny Gallagher, our camera operators, Josh, Adam, Ryan, Adam, Kirsten, Mike, John, and Jack, our drone operator, Gabe Scholl, our official spotter, Hollywood, our manager, Dan Reinhart, our second engineer, Jack Renner, our engineer in charge, Jordan McFadden, our replay operator, Cameron Cotter, Director Don Hampton, producer Adam Gordon, and our executive producer, Ms. Carrie Jo Russell. I'm Mikey Waynes, and you've been watching GNCC on Racer TV.